Chapter 458. Zhang Xianjing took the bait, making money to support our Mr. Mo. _2. As Zhang Lingling ascended the stairs, she turned to Dr. Jiang and said, Dr. Jiang, my mother's cough has gotten worse recently. As a daughter, it breaks my heart to see this. Can we do anything to relieve her cough and speed up her recovery? Dr. Jiang replied, Your mother's chronic cough, compounded by her old age and deteriorating health, won't improve overnight. It requires gradual treatment. Zhang Lingling nodded her agreement. As they climbed up the stairs, she took the initiative to steady Dr. Jiang's arm. Mom, Dr. Jiang is here. Zhang Lingling knocked on the door. Come in, came Mrs. Zhang's voice from inside. Zhang Lingling entered the room with Dr. Jiang. Xiaoyan. Mrs. Zhang rose to meet them. Zhang Xianjing followed suit and greeted her. Dr. Jiang nodded in acknowledgement, then turned to Mrs. Zhang with concern. Qing, I heard from Lingling that your cough has worsened. Laughing, Mrs. Zhang said, It's not as bad as Lingling has made out. Zhang Lingling looked at Xianjing and suggested, Xianjing, let's take your great-aunt out so that Dr. Jiang and Grandma can talk. All right. Xianjing squatted down gently. Great-aunt Suyu, shall we go out? You are a devil. You want to hurt me. Suyu burst into tears, terrified. Zhang Lingling squatted down, coaxing. Aunt Suyu, shall we take you out for some candy? Yes. Suyu brightened up. Candy. Candy. Mother and daughter cajoled Aunt Suyu and managed to lead her out. Mrs. Zhang heaved a helpless sigh. Dr. Jiang inquired, Didn't a self-proclaimed divine doctor who could cure Suyu come a while ago? From my observation, Suyu's condition hasn't improved at all. Recalling something, Mrs. Zhang burst out. Divine doctor, my foot. He was nothing but a fraudster. Upon hearing this, Dr. Jiang patted Mrs. Zhang's hand reassuringly. Suyu has her own fate. She will surely recover. I hope so. Mrs. Zhang sighed again. Dr. Jiang continued, By the way, Qing, have you heard anything about Tingting lately? No, Mrs. Zhang shook her head. It has been over 30 years. It wouldn't be that easy to find her. I'll be frank, I've given up hope. Dr. Jiang glanced at Mrs. Zhang, a hint of knowing sparkle in her eyes. No hope? Then why did she secretly send Hair for DNA testing? What old friends? What lifelong sisterhood? It's all a facade. If Mrs. Zhang considered her as a dear friend, she wouldn't keep secrets from her. Dr. Jiang narrowed her eyes subtly. Although you say that, you should still continue your search. After all, Tingting is your biological daughter. Lingling, despite being raised by you, isn't your flesh and blood. The proverb, our own children are our precious jewels, holds truer than ever. Dr. Jiang glanced at Mrs. Zhang, changing her tone. But speaking from my heart, Lingling is an exemplary and filial daughter, who cares deeply about your health every time I visit. Mrs. Zhang nodded. Indeed, Lingling is a good daughter. Dr. Jiang extracted a stethoscope from her medical bag and began to examine Mrs. Zhang, changing the topic. Qing, have you been taking your medicine on time recently? Yes, always on time. Dr. Jiang continued. Has your toilet routine been normal? Yes, normal. After asking a few more questions, Dr. Jiang's smile faded. A look of concern clouded her face. Is my condition bad? Mrs. Zhang looked at Dr. Jiang. No. Dr. Jiang shook her head. Don't worry too much, you're in good health. Mrs. Zhang wasn't a fool. She had already perceived the answer from Dr. Jiang's expression. Xiaoyan, am now in my 60s and have weathered many storms. You can tell me straight, there's no need to tiptoe around it. Really, it's nothing. Dr. Jiang smilingly responded. Qing, you worry too much. I remember when you were younger, you would always fight and make a fuss with Zhengjun because of this. Upon mentioning youth, Mrs. Zhang's face lit up with a faint smile. She appeared lost in old memories, as if back in those days. Back then, Tingting was still here. Suyu hadn't gone mad yet. Their family was so happy. Chapter 459. Zhang Xianjing takes the bait, earning money to support our Mr. Mo's family. _3. Dr. Jiang continued. Oh, speaking of which, where is Zhang Jun? He should be in the Xiaohua garden. Zhang Jun is a typical scholar, tending to his books and plants every day. All domestic matters, big or small, were taken care of by Madame Zheng, especially after their only daughter went missing. He practically stopped caring about everything. How many years have passed? Dr. Jiang sighed. He's still the same. You've broken your heart for this family while he behaves as if nothing's wrong. If not for Madame Zheng, the family would have fallen apart long ago. He's suffering inside. Their only daughter was lost, and the youngest sister went mad. No one knows the agony Zheng Jun suffers beneath his placid facade. He's suffering? You tell me. Aren't you suffering too? Dr. Jiang continued. You really are lucky, Zheng Jun, to have such a wonderful wife. Madame Zheng chuckled. Xiaoyan, be honest with me, how's my health really? I've lived long enough to bear pretty much anything. You're really fine, stop overthinking, Dr. Chao said while writing out a prescription. Madame Zheng turned to Dr. Jiang. Xiaoyan, do you remember how old Lingling was when you first brought her home? Dr. Jiang gave it some thought. She was around 7, I think. I remember you had just lost Tingting, and Lingling's arrival helped you out of your grief. Zheng Lingling wasn't originally a Zheng. Her name was Chao Lingrui, Madame Zheng's sister's daughter. A plane crash took away both of Lingling's parents. The disaster came so suddenly that Madame Zheng didn't even have time to bid her sister and brother-in-law one last goodbye. Not even their remains were found. Fortunately, Zheng Lingling wasn't on that plane. After the disaster, Dr. Jiang crossed half the Pacific to bring Lingling to Madame Zheng's side. Both of them, one lost her parents, and the other lost her only daughter. Having shared this sympathetic experience and being kin, Madame Zheng transferred all her affection from her biological daughter to Lingling. She would welcome others with a smile in the day, like nothing was wrong, and would only sob in silence when the night was deep and still. Yes, Madame Zheng looked out the window, an indescribable look in her eyes. It's been 33 years in the blink of an eye. Lingling has grown up, and Xianjing is now 19. I don't have any more reservations. Qing, you need to continue searching for Tingting. Dr. Jiang patted Madame Zheng's hand. Well, let fate decide. Dr. Jiang continued. Qing, at least you're better off than me. You have a daughter. Even though Lingling isn't blood-related, she's so devoted. What about me? I fear when I die, no one will even know, just like Ms. Zhang. Ms. Zhang is a renowned figure in their circle. She was very modern and romantic in her youth, pursuing the spiritual world. She never married and died at 55 from a sudden heart attack. She fell into a coma in her villa, and because there were no relatives or friends nearby, she wasn't rescued in time, resulting in her death. Her death was only discovered a week later when the smell of her body started to permeate. Older people without family or children tend to overthink and live in constant fear. That won't happen. Madame Zheng comforted Dr. Jiang and patted her hand. Stop thinking nonsense. You still have your thoughtful nephews and nieces. Dr. Jiang sighed. Qing, I've recently thought about drawing up my will. Drawing up a will? Madame Zheng looked unbelieving. Dr. Jiang was her age, about 61 this year, but was much healthier and had no known illnesses. Even she hadn't yet thought about drawing up her will. Why was Dr. Jiang doing so? Outside the door, Zhang Xianjing, holding a tray with tea, was about to knock and enter. She stopped in her tracks and held her breath, listening to the conversation inside. Dr. Jiang chuckled. Honestly, I don't have much money, just a 5-figure number in my bank account, which is nothing to you. Dr. Jiang is an average doctor without a distinguished background. She was just an ordinary person before meeting Madame Zheng. Though it's just a few 10,000s of yuan, for an ordinary person, it's still a huge sum. After all, a bowl of noodles only costs 3 cents at this time. Speaking of which, Qing, have you ever considered drawing up a will? Dr. Jiang asked. Accidents happen when you least expect them. Given the size of Zheng family fortunes, it's better to plan these things in advance. Chapter 460. Zheng Xianjing took the bait, making money to support our Mr. Mo. _4. Hearing this, Zheng Xianjing's heart jumped into her throat. Madame Zheng nodded. To be honest, I've been considering this matter recently. Dr. Jiang said. You don't really need to think about this. Tingting is your biological daughter, All the Zheng family's property should naturally go to her. Zheng Tingting? A cold light flashed in Zheng Xianjing's eyes. This Dr. Jiang was certainly a troublemaker. Zheng Tingting had been dead for hundreds of years. Why mention her now? Madame Zheng laughed. Lingling is also my daughter. I can't leave all the property to just Tingting. I've decided, if we find Tingting, I'll split the wealth equally, half for Tingting and half for Lingling. They're both my daughters, I won't favor one over the other. Madame Zheng was a good mother. Although Zheng Lingling wasn't her biological daughter, she raised her with her own hands. In her heart, Lingling made no difference from her own birth child. So she would treat them fairly. Dr. Jiang smiled. Lingling is fortunate to have such a good aunt. In my heart, she has long been my own daughter. Own daughter? A mocking glint flashed in Zheng Xianjing's eyes outside the door. If this old witch seriously thought of Zheng Lingling as her own daughter, then she wouldn't be leaving only half the property to Zheng Lingling. After all, the one who's been by Madame Zheng's side all these years, showing filial piety, was Zheng Lingling. Zheng Tingting hasn't contributed anything, she didn't even call her mother. Why is she entitled to half of Zheng Lingling's inheritance? All of the Zheng family's properties should belong to Zheng Lingling. Adopted ones are never as close as real ones. Zheng Xianjing bit her lip, her face darkened. Dr. Jiang continued. Aching, we must be prepared for all scenarios. What if you can't find Tingting? Madame Zheng continued. If we can't find her, I'll donate all the money to the orphanage in Tingting's name. This could also be seen as accumulating blessings for the child Tingting. Donate to the orphanage? Madame Zheng would rather donate it to the orphanage than leave it to Zheng Lingling, such a good mother indeed. Zheng Xianjing was almost furious to death. So all these years, she and Zheng Lingling's efforts were in vain. This old hag is an ungrateful wretch. At the moment, all Zheng Xianjing wanted to do was to barge into the room and splash the hot tea in her hand all over that old witch's face, to wake her up. Otherwise, she would never know right from wrong. Dr. Jiang nodded. Aching, you've thought it through. The conversation inside was still going on, but Zheng Xianjing had heard the most important part. She hurried back to her room, telling Zheng Lingling everything she had heard. Upon hearing the news, Zheng Lingling said coldly, I knew that old witch wasn't easy to deal with. After all, she wasn't born from the old hag's womb. No matter how good she was to that old witch, she wouldn't pay it back. But Zheng Lingling couldn't make peace. Why? She had been serving this old witch so carefully for so many years. And in the end, it turned out that she had to compete with a dead person for property. How ridiculous. Mom, what should we do now? Zheng Xianjing was getting anxious. She didn't want to give up what was hers to someone else. Zheng Lingling said, we don't need to rush on this matter. The immediate concern is how to stop the wedding of Li Xianxian and Mo Baichuan. Once you're married to Mr. Mog, that old witch won't dare to look down on us. Zheng Xianjing nodded. Mom, you're right. But what should I do now? The issue of Li Xianxian and the will were entangled together, and it made Zheng Xianjing's head swell. Zheng Lingling said, we need to think it through. Getting Li Xianxian to miscarry isn't easy. As if remembering something, Zheng Xianjing said, oh yes, Mom. She told Zheng Lingling about the phone call from Mr. Mo. Mom, what do you think? Zheng Xianjing was still undecided. She didn't know whether she should believe that Mr. Mo. Zheng Lingling squinted her eyes. Xianjing, how about we take a gamble? Mom. Zheng Lingling calmly took a sip of water. If we win the gamble, you can marry Mr. Mog. If we lose, we'll just be out 30,000 yuan. Spending 30,000 yuan to buy the ultimate honor is worth it. Chapter 461. Zheng Xianjing took the bait, making money to support our Mr. Mo. _5. After all, the temptation was simply too great, and Lingling didn't want to miss out on such an amazing opportunity. After all, didn't life sometimes require a gamble? Just like back then. If she had not taken a chance then, would she have what she has now? Xianjing followed up saying, but where are we going to get all that money? The absolute control over the Zheng family's finances now lay in the hands of Granny Zheng. She gave Lingling 8,000 yuan every month, while Xianjing only got 5,000. This many thousands of yuan is money that regular people could work years for and still not make, But among the wealthy, it's just pocket change, gone in a few rounds of mahjong. Lingling and Xianjing, the mother and daughter with big spending habits, would each spend 5 to 600 yuan every month on skincare products. With the addition of jewelry purchases and such, their money would be gone almost as soon as they'd gotten it. Where are they going to round up 30,000 yuan now? Lingling answered. Don't worry about the money, I'll figure out something. Mom, do you have some hidden stash of money? Lingling didn't answer Xianjing directly, instead saying, Xianjing, were you not just about to take some tea to Granny and Granny Jiang? I'll go with you so I can check on how Granny's health is doing. Xianjing picked up on faint footsteps outside the door and said with a smile, Okay, Mom, you don't need to worry, Granny will be fine. The mother-daughter duo walked out the door to take tea to Dr. Jiang and Granny Zhang. Dr. Jiang gave Lingling a list of food that Granny Zhang should avoid and daily practices she should pay attention to before saying her farewells. Lingling said with a smile, Dr. Jiang, let me see you out. Xianjing didn't exactly get along with Dr. Jiang. Ever since she had heard the conversation between Dr. Jiang and Granny Zhang, she disliked Dr. Jiang even more. It baffled her why Lingling was so nice to Dr. Jiang. Xianjing, come with me to see Dr. Jiang off. Lingling turned to Xianjing. All right. Xianjing obediently followed Lingling. Dr. Jiang laughed very kindly and said, Back when Xianjing was just a baby you could hold in your arms and now she has grown into such a lovely young lady. Lingling asked, Xianjing, do you remember when you were a baby that Granny Jiang used to hold you? Xianjing laughed and said, That was so long ago, how can I possibly remember? Lingling seemed dissatisfied as she glanced at Xianjing, but Dr. Jiang seemed unbothered and said, Oh, it's not a big deal, children have short memories. Lingling said, It's fortunate that you're not picky with her. When they got to the door, Dr. Jiang stopped. This is far enough. She then seemed to recall something and took a bottle of medicine out of her bag. I almost forgot. This medicine is very effective against coughing. Lingling, just put half a pill in the chicken soup when you're making it. Lingling very solemnly took the bottle and said, Thank you for your trouble, Dr. Jiang. Dr. Jiang laughed and said, Your mother and I have been as close as sisters for many years. There's no need for such courtesy. Lingling continued, Dr. Jiang, are you free tomorrow morning? I have a friend who isn't feeling well, and I want to bring her over tomorrow. Sure, I'll see you tomorrow morning then. Goodbye, Dr. Jiang. Lingling pushed Xianjing. Say goodbye to Granny Jiang. Xianjing carelessly said, Goodbye, Granny Jiang. As soon as Dr. Jiang left, Lingling scolded Xianjing angrily. Xianjing, this is a warning. From now on, you will not disrespect Granny Jiang. Xianjing sniffed dismissively and replied, What's the point in you being so nice to her? You don't know what she says about you behind your back. Dr. Jiang clearly wasn't a good person. She said one thing to your face and another behind your back. Lingling breathed out a sigh and gravely said, Regardless, Granny Jiang is your elder. Remember to show her respect. She's hardly an elder. Xianjing muttered, More like a shit stirrer. Lingling's expression darkened. Xianjing, do you remember who you are? Sorry, Mum, I was wrong. Lingling carried on. Do you know that if you keep acting like this, people will say that you have no manners? Xianjing responded, Mom, I only act like this around you, I never act this way around other people. Lingling sternly said, You're not allowed to behave this way around me either, habits form naturally. Chapter 462. Zhang Xianjing took the bait, making money to support our Mr. Mo. _6. Oh, I understand now, I won't dare to do it again. Zhang Xianjing still had a decent attitude in admitting her wrongs, so Zhang Lingling didn't say much more. She turned around and walked into the house with Zhang Xianjing. Just as they entered the house, Zhang Lingling busied herself with making chicken soup for the old Madame Zhang in the kitchen. Zhang Xianjing was speechless. After all that old hag had done to them, she couldn't believe that Zhang Lingling was still so nice to her. She must be out of her mind. In her opinion, she should replace all the medicine in the bottle with poison and kill that old hag. Anai Yang walked out of the public phone booth, the corners of her mouth curling into a light curve. Her dimples, shallow and charming, seemed to absorb everyone around. Her radiance outshone even the clouds in the sky. She walked all the way to the detective agency. Xiao was currently fiddling with an old-fashioned phonograph, completely unaware of Enai Yang's arrival. Is it not working? Enai Yang approached Xiao. Startled by the sudden comment, Xiao turned to see Enai Yang and broke into a smile. It's not exactly that it doesn't function. It's just that the sound produced seems off, like a saw being drawn. Let me have a look. Enai Yang walked to the front of the phonograph. This was a very ancient phonograph. With its swan neck-like bend and large horn, it resembled a blooming trumpet flower, prideful and elegant. The large horn was made of pure copper, highly wear-resistant and non-fading. It was perfectly complemented by an elegant, traditional wooden cabinet. This type of phonograph originated from the Republic era. A few of them could still be found in the 1980s in China. In later generations, they all became precious antiques only seen in museums and with collectors. In her former life, Enai Yang didn't have many hobbies. Collecting phonographs was one of the few. She fiddled with it for a while, put on the disc, pressed the start button, and instantly, melodious music flowed from the large horn. The night in Shanghai, you are a city that never sleeps, the lights are up, it's all song and dance. Xiaozhou exclaimed in surprise. That's amazing. Yang, you're really something. You even know how to repair phonographs. In these times, the most popular gadgets were radios. All the trendy boys and girls had radios in their hands, with a pair of earphones plugged into their ears. They couldn't have looked cooler. Earphones entered China around the end of the Qing dynasty when telegraph machines came into existence. Now hardly anyone bothered with big, heavy, old-fashioned gadgets like phonographs. Xiao sometimes found it hard to figure out Enai Yang. This girl, younger and slimmer than him but far more capable, seemed to harbor many secrets. Enai Yang laughed lightly. It's not that I'm amazing. It's just that I've studied it a bit. Xiaozhou walked over and poured Enai Yang a cup of water. Yang, you must have something important to discuss, and that's why you came over, right? Enai Yang took the cup with both hands. You guessed it correctly. Xiao grinned and asked, What's up? Tell me about it. Enai Yang took a sip of tea. In the next few days, someone might send some money to Mr. Mog. When they do, just tell them he's out, you'll take care of the delivery but keep the money for me. It wouldn't be appropriate for her to handle this in person. So Xiaozhou would have to help. Sending money to Mr. Mog? Enai Yang nodded slightly. This Mr. Mog is you? Xiao asked further. It's me. Enai Yang replied with a smile in her eyes. Xiao couldn't resist teasing. Are you getting married and following your husband's title? Enai Yang answered with a faint smile. I suppose you could say that. Turning his eyes to the screen, Xiaozhou cleared his throat and continued. The rumors about Mo Qishan are not good, Yang. Are you sure you want him to be your boyfriend? Enai Yang retorted. What others think doesn't matter to me. If I like him, that's enough. She genuinely didn't care. Reborn in a new life, she wanted to live life to the fullest and not be bound by restrictions. She wasn't willing to miss out on the people she loved, because there wouldn't be another life after this. But once Mo Qishan leaves the Mo family, he's nothing. Xiao went on. Yang, you're so outstanding. You deserve someone better. Mo Qishan was known for his worthlessness, idleness, and even a broken engagement, totally ruining his reputation. Xiaozhou was somewhat puzzled. Why was Enai Yang interested in him? Enai Yang said very seriously, In my eyes he is the best. Xiao added, Do you know why Zheng Xianjing and Li Xianxian both want to marry Mo Baichuan? I don't know. Enai Yang shook her head. Next, Xiaozhou shared, According to my investigation, there is a high possibility that Mo Baichuan is actually Mr. Mog. Now do you understand why they're scheming to marry Mo Baichuan? Oh, Enai Yang nodded. Just like that? What did that mean? Why was Enai Yang's reaction so calm? Don't you find it surprising? Xiao asked. Why should I be surprised? Enai Yang quirked an eyebrow and asked back. Xiao shot back. This is Mr. Mog. Do you understand what Mr. Mog represents in Beijing? I understand. Enai Yang responded. It pretty much means supreme and unparalleled, doesn't it? In the future, Mr. Mog's existence was still very mysterious, with a business empire under his control. He was respected and sought after by all. But it was weird that no financial newspaper had ever published anything about him. And Young was taken aback that Mo Baichuan turned out to be Mr. Mog. No wonder Li Xianxian was determined to marry him. Since Li Xianxian was reborn from a later era, she might have uncovered some secrets unknown to others. Knowing this, why are you still so calm? Xiao was at a loss. And Young shrugged. Whether or not he is Mr. Mog doesn't concern me. Should I react dramatically? Xiao continued. When it comes to talent and looks, both you and Mr. Mog are head and shoulders above Li Xianxian and Zheng Xianjing. I think only you are worthy of Mr. Mog. Aren't you interested? And Yang, who had just taken a sip of water, almost choked upon hearing this. She spat out all the water in her mouth onto the ground. I'm not interested in him at all, so don't talk nonsense. Xiao replied quite seriously, but I really do think that you and Mr. Mog are a good match. And Yang retorted, I'm only interested in Mo Qixin. Is that clear? She didn't really care about Mr. Mog or any of his titles. What Yang found puzzling was that the narcissistic Mo Baichuan turned out to be Mr. Mog, which totally overturned her understanding of him. It was quite inconceivable. Xiaozhou thought Yang was just too strange. She would rather become involved with a loser uncle than look at a promising nephew. Xiao pointed out, but Mo Qixin isn't deserving of you at all. He doesn't even have a job, hasn't even graduated from high school. What will he support you with in the future? It doesn't matter if he doesn't have a job. I have money and that's enough. I can support him. And Yang replied directly. Chapter 463. I am Mr. Mog _1. And Yang is a very pragmatic person. She knows that most of the reasons for breakups between men and women in this world are rooted in the trivialities of life. All love ultimately disappears in these trivialities. However, as long as one's financial condition keeps up, all problems are no problems. If the woman is weaker in terms of finance, her status in family life will be inferior. If the woman takes up the major economic role, instantly the tables can turn. This is also the main reason why Yang doesn't rely on men. Because there's no better sense of security than relying on oneself. Therefore, she doesn't think there's anything wrong with her supporting Mo Qixin. Xiao felt that his whole worldview was being overturned by Yang. She supports him? Yang is actually going to support Mo Qixin. If you look all over Beijing, you probably won't find a second woman willing to support a man, right? Yang, you're not joking with me, are you? Xiao swallowed and turned to look at the screen. Yang's eyes were indifferent. What's there to joke about? When you really fall in love with someone, you're willing to give everything for them. Invisibly, Xiaozhou was being shown up by Yang and suffered a huge romantic blow. Why is he still alone? He also wanted to find a girlfriend who was willing to support him, whimper. Yang laughed and said, it's normal for you, a bachelor, not to understand all this. When you have a girlfriend, you'll understand my words today. Bachelor what? Dog. He already felt pitiful enough for being single. Why did she call him a dog? Xiao was heartbroken. If he's the bachelor dog, what is Yang doing? Killing the dog? Yang spoke too quickly for a moment, and accidentally used a popular phrase from the future, and quickly remedied it with, a bachelor, aren't you single? Bachelor? Did he mishear out of sadness? Yang, didn't you just say a single dog? Yang laughed. Xiao, are you stupid? Who would call themselves a dog? Xiao touched his head. Although what Yang said seemed reasonable, he felt something wrong. But he couldn't quite put his finger on it. Xiaozhou temporarily forgot about the dog question and continued. Yang, you're not joking with me, are you? You really want to support Mo Qixin? Yang raised her eyebrows slightly. Do I look like I'm joking? Xiao shook his head, his gaze unconsciously sliding from the screen. No. He then continued. But don't all you girls like men with power and status like Mr. Mog? Xiaozhou had seen all sorts of people. He had even seen girls at the age of 18 throwing themselves at men of 80. Mo Baichuan was not only rich and handsome but also the famous Mr. Mog. Na Yang had no reason not to like him. Na Yang frowned slightly. You're generalizing with your statement. Actually, not every girl likes men with power and status. Na Yang had seen too many girls in her previous life who'd rather laugh on a bicycle than cry in a BMW. Some girls are even willing to give their lives for the one they love. Such girls must be rare, right? Xiao said. Na Yang smiled slightly. I suggest you go back and read the stories of Wang Ping and Shui Baochai, as well as Liang Shambua and Zhuing Tai. Stories come from life, and these characters do have historical prototypes. You can't deny their existence just because you haven't seen them yourself. Xiao was momentarily stunned. A touch of shame appeared on his face. Indeed, he had thought too narrowly of girls. He certainly couldn't deny their existence just because he hadn't seen them. It seemed like every time he chatted with Na Yang, he was imparted with different life philosophies. She was like a treasure trove of knowledge, always bringing surprises. There was a hint of respect in Xiao's eyes when he looked at Na Yang. Yang, you're right. Xiao continued. Oh Yang, can I ask you another question? Ask. Na Yang nodded slightly. Xiao said. What do you like about Mo Qishan? Na Yang touched her chin, probably because he's good-looking. Mo Qishan's appearance was beyond reproach. And he was far more alluring than popular movie stars. If he were in the future, he'd be the kind of person who could live off his looks. Xiao. He probably won't be able to get married then. Why did he have to ask such a heart-wrenching question? Chapter 464. I am Mr. Mog _2. Xiao turned his head to look at the screen. Na Yang, chuckling, asked, Why are you always looking at the screen? Hiding a beauty behind it? Xiao touched his nose. No, it's just that I think the patterns on the screen are fascinating. Na Yang nodded with an ambiguous smile. Oh, I've got to go. I have some errands to run. Remember to collect money for me. Where are you going? Xiao instinctively asked. Na Yang responded without looking back. To make money, to support our Mr. Mog at home. Xiao. He also wished someone could support him. After Na Yang left, a tall, slender figure emerged from behind the screen. The dim light cast a layer of mystery on his distinct facial features, making it hard to read the expression in his narrow eyes. Buddy, you're quite lucky with ladies. Xiaozhou walked over to Mo Qishan, patted him on the shoulder and said, Even without a high school diploma, you attract people. What's more, someone is even willing to financially support him. For goodness sake. Comparisons are odious. Jealous. The man turned his eyes slightly and revealed a breathtaking face. His tone was deep, as if soaked in ink. Not jealous, I'm green with envy. Understand? Xiao stared at Mo Qishan, gritting his teeth. Xiao and Mo Qishan were friends from primary school. But Mo Qishan was so brilliant that they only studied together for 1 year before Mo Qishan skipped a grade to go to junior high school. Although they only had a year of formal education together, they amassed a profound friendship. In the years that followed, their bond became even stronger. Xiao completed junior and senior high school, and even made it into a prestigious university. But Mo Qishan seemed to lose his stride. He began to fall behind academically in junior high school, paid his way through senior high, and finally even dropped out before graduating. He disappeared for 4 or 5 years in between, then remained the same, living off his family's resources, idle, and ultimately even lost his fiancée. From a genius to a waste, it was a classic tale of self-destruction. And he became a joke within elite circles. As Mo Qishan's best friend, Xiao felt pity for him on numerous occasions. But now he envied Mo Qishan immensely. Freaking hell. Despite all his hard work, he didn't have a girlfriend. And Mo Qishan not only had a girlfriend, but a girlfriend who was willing to support him financially. Freaking hell. Comparisons are odious. Earlier, it was because of Mo Qishan being there that Xiao deliberately probed Na Yang. He even told Na Yang that Mo Baichuan was Mr. Mog, but she seemed unaffected. Mo Qishan hadn't expected his woman to love him so much. He knew he had chosen correctly. Xiao continued, but the most surprising to me is your grandnephew. He seemed unassuming, but turns out to be the famous Mr. Mog. That's just too incredible. Mr. Mog. Xiao had never imagined that Mr. Mog would turn out to be his good friend's grandnephew. Mo Kishin's facial expression remained unchanged, but his eyes hinted heavily. Indeed, he's quite impressive. Not just impressive, he's freaking impressive. Xiao continued. Your grandnephew is so accomplished, you as his uncle have to buck up too. Xiaozhou was a true friend to Mo Kishin, so he spoke without pretense and genuinely cared for him. As he finished, Xiao solemnly added, You're not getting any younger. You can't go on like this. You need to accomplish something, to show those who look down on you and mock you. Mo Kishin was a very smart man. Xiaozhou believed that, as long as Mo Kishin put in the effort, he would definitely make great achievements. The condition being that he should make an effort. Mo Kishin touched his nose, responding in a lukewarm tone. Why should I work so hard? After all, someone is supporting me, unlike you, who's still single. Xiao. He suspected there was a dog slaughter but had no evidence. After a silence, Xiaozhou expressed his frustration. Don't you want to one-up Zhao Jingrong? He was somewhat perplexed. How had a man once so spirited become so markedly different? Xiao earnestly wanted to know what had happened to Mo Kishin over the years. Why should I bother her? Responded Mo Kishin. I don't even like her. Then Xiao questioned, Zhao Jingrong dumped you. Don't you feel a hint of anger? Mo Kishin's mouth curved slightly as he laughed. Correction, I dumped Zhao Jingrong. Chapter 465. I am Mr. Mog _3. To Zayaza's surprise, as if he had just heard a hilarious joke, he stood on his tiptoes to feel Mo Kishin's forehead. Bro, are you running a fever? Everyone in Beijing knows that Mo Kishin was dumped by Zhao Jingrong, but Mo Kishin claims he dumped her. Isn't that self-deception? Mo Kishin simply smiled without uttering a word. Xiao continued, Bro, you don't have to suffer to save face in front of me. Everyone in Beijing knows that after Zhao Jingrong dumped you, she blatantly boasted about marrying Mr. Mog. Upon saying this, Xiao seemed to suddenly recall something and covered his mouth. Oh my god! Isn't the person Zhao Jingrong plans to marry your grandnephew? Doesn't that screw up the family hierarchy? I wonder if Zhao Jingrong knows yet that Mr. Mog is actually your grandnephew. Wei Jun. Mo Kishin spoke in a light tone. Wei Jun was Zayaza's full name. He would only be addressed this way when Mo Kishin was extremely serious. What's up? Xiao looked up at Mo Kishin. Mo Kishin continued, Actually, Mr. Mog is not my grandnephew. Then who is he? Mo Kishin, looking undisturbed, with his sharp features blurred under the dim light, revealed slowly, Actually, I am Mr. Mog. Upon hearing this, an eerie silence fell upon the room. Ha ha ha. The next second, Xiaozhou burst out laughing, tears streaming from his eyes. He patted Mo Kishin on the shoulders. Bro, are you trying to make me laugh to death so you can inherit my 2 cents worth of assets? This had to be the funniest joke he had heard all year. Mr. Mog? Why don't you say you can ascend to the heavens? No, wait. I think it'd be more likely for you to ascend to the heavens than to be Mr. Mog. Mo Kishin replied lightly, I'm serious. All right. Xiao patted Mo Kishin's shoulder. You can tell me, after all, we're brothers. Mo Kishin continued, Wei Jun, I am indeed Mog. Kishin, I also have a secret to tell you. Xiao suddenly turned serious. Tell me. Xiao looked at Mo Kishin and continued, Kishin, actually I am the Jade Emperor. Whispering, he added, I came to the mortal world to endure trials and tribulations. Mo Kishin stared at Xiaozhou as if looking at a deranged person, and spoke with an incredulous expression. That joke isn't funny at all. Xiao responded, So you do know it's not a funny joke? Mo Kishin, I really am Mog. Xiao, I am really the Jade Emperor. Mo Kishin, how was he supposed to respond to that? In the end, Xiaozhou added, If you're Mog, you'll eat shit. Mo Kishin didn't respond and just stroked his nose. Xiao gave Mo Kishin a pat on the back. Keep working hard, bro. Snap out of your dreams. Do you know how many people are laughing at you in Beijing? Mo Kishin responded with a small smile. Only by doing so can I see people's true colors more clearly. Otherwise, you'll never know whether you're surrounded by friends or foes. Xiao rolled his eyes in disbelief. You talk as if you're really Mr. Mog. Sigh, did the fact that your grandnephew is Mog affect you? Mo Chishan remained silent and took 4 stacks of bills from his briefcase. This is for you. What is this? USD. Mo Chishan replied indifferently. Considering USD is 8 times the value of RMB, these 4 stacks were worth at least several 100,000 RMB. Xiaoto was no longer calm. Where did you get so much money? Earned it. Mo Chishan stated concisely. You need money right now, right? This is for you. Even though I really need money right now, I can't accept this. Xiao pushed the money back. Mo Chishan was currently unemployed. This money was surely leached from his both parents. How could he use an elderly couple's money? It seemed that Mo Chishan saw through Xiaoza's thoughts. He added, Go ahead and take it. This money really was made by me and has nothing to do with my parents. I really can't take it. Xiao responded adamantly. Mo Chishan picked up his briefcase and stood up. Consider it an investment from me. Just remember to share the profits with me at the end of the year. Hearing this, Xiaozhou finally decided to accept. Don't worry, bro. I definitely won't let you lose out. But even now, Xiaozhou wouldn't believe that this money was his own. Chapter 466. I am Mr. Mog _4. Mo Chishan did not explain further, but only said, I believe you. Good brother. Xiao extended his hand and patted Mo Chishan's chest. A manor in Beijing. In a luxurious room lay a middle-aged woman with blonde hair and blue eyes. She was voluptuous, her face radiant. If not told, no one would know that she was a woman on her deathbed. She sat up in bed, revealing a weak smile towards the door. Miss G, you've come. Miss G walked in from outside with nutritional supplements, asking with concern, Are you feeling better? Thank you for your concern. I am feeling much better. But as soon as she finished her sentence, her face turned pale, her breathing weak. She looked as if she could stop breathing at any moment, a dreadful sight. Miss G was startled, immediately pressing the emergency alarm by the bed. An urgent alarm rang out. Several people who looked like doctors ran in from outside, first performing defibrillation, then administering oxygen rapidly. After a series of treatments, the middle-aged woman on the bed gradually regained consciousness, opening her eyes. Miss G, pale from fright, stepped forward and asked, How are you feeling now? Is there anywhere you still feel uncomfortable? The middle-aged woman didn't have the strength to speak, she simply blinked weakly. At that moment, the sound of hurried footsteps came from outside the door, and a tall man rushed in. Mom, are you all right? The middle-aged woman could not muster the strength to reply. A doctor in a white coat said, Mr. Abner, may we speak with you in private? The doctor's expression seemed grim. Miss G shot a worrisome glance at the middle-aged woman on the bed. Abner followed the doctor outside. Only then did the doctor slowly start. Mr. Abner, you must be prepared for your mother's illness. Usually when a doctor suggests mental preparedness, the patient's condition doesn't end well. But Abner had difficulty facing reality. My mother is only 50 years old. Her life has barely begun. Please try to find another way. The doctor shook his head helplessly. Your mother is nearing the end. I suggest you start preparing for the end. Isn't there any other way? Abner, with a pained expression, said, I am willing to pay any price if it will allow my mother to live. He had lost his father at a young age. His mother had raised him single-handedly, and just when she finally could have a few good days, she was stricken with a terrible disease. As her son, he felt unbearable heartache. The doctor regretfully said, If we continue like this, it would only increase the patient's pain. Rather than prolong her suffering, it may be better to let her pass quickly. Abner pressed his temples in pain. There really isn't any other way? No, as doctors we wouldn't stand by while a person dies. The doctor continued, suffering from this kind of disease, the pain a patient endures is unimaginable to us. Each breath is like being pierced with a needle. The pain is unbearable. If you truly love your mother, I suggest you allow her to be free from her pain sooner. Abner was silent, a pained expression on his face. After a while, he finally said, All right, I understand. If there's nothing else, I will take my leave. Abner nodded his head. After the doctor left, Miss G immediately comforted him. Mr. Abner, don't be upset. In China, we have a saying that there will be a way when it seems impossible. I believe your mother will get better. Miss G had heard everything the doctor said. Although she believed that Abner's mother was terminal, she knew comforting words were still necessary. Mr. Abner. A male assistant walked over. Chinese medicine has broad and profound knowledge. Perhaps you could try hiring a traditional Chinese medicine doctor. The man speaking was Abner's personal assistant, Li Long, a genuine Chinese. Hearing this, Abner seemed to have found a lifeline. He replied, "Then I'll leave this matter to you." "All right." Li Long nodded his head. Miss G said, "Mr. Abner, I think you should consider this carefully." Li Long raised his eyes in surprise at Miss G. Miss G continued, "Traditional Chinese medicine is often conservative and rule-bound. They are not good at innovating. Your mother's illness is quite serious. If they can't treat her successfully and even worsen her condition, it would be a disastrous mistake." At this moment, Li Long even doubted if Miss G was actually Chinese. Chapter 467. I am Mr. Mog_5. How can someone denigrate their own country so much? Li Long said. Miss G, you're mistaken. Traditional Chinese medicine has been passed down for thousands of years and has benefited countless humans. If traditional Chinese medicine were really as bad as you say, wouldn't China have been destroyed long ago? Miss G laughed lightly and replied, "If traditional Chinese medicine is really that good, why is it that you can't find a traditional Chinese medicine hospital on every street corner? The few existing traditional Chinese medicine stores are on the brink of closure. Western medicine dominates today, and it is indeed difficult to find large-scale traditional Chinese medicine hospitals in the country." Li Long frowned slightly. "Miss G, what you're saying is simply unreasonable." Miss G said, "Li Long, being patriotic is good, but we must be sensible. Do you realize that your suggestion could kill Auntie?" No matter what, Miss G would not believe in traditional Chinese medicine. Over the years, all her serious and minor illnesses had been cured by Western medicine. She vaguely remembers, when she was very young, she also drank extremely bitter Chinese medicinal soup. A simple cold can be cured by Western medicine with just one injection, while traditional Chinese medicine would require a week of specifically prepared concoctions for a slow recovery. This is also why traditional Chinese medicine declined so rapidly. With that, Miss G looked at Abner. "Mr. Abner, do you still want to consult a traditional Chinese medicine doctor?" Abner pinched his temple. "Let me think a bit more." Li Long wanted to say something, but he swallowed his words. After a while, Abner said, "Li Long, go ahead and get a traditional Chinese medicine doctor to give it a try." Miss G turned pale and was about to speak, but she was stopped by Abner's raised hand. Miss G had to shut her mouth with discontent. Li Long was happy and replied, "Yes, sir." The traditional Chinese medicine doctor was brought back quickly, an old man in his 60s or 70s with white hair. Li Long took the initiative to introduce him. "Mr. Abner, this is Dr. Wang. Dr. Wang comes from a long line of traditional Chinese medicine practitioners. His ancestors served as imperial doctors in the palace. He has a high reputation in Suzhou City." Miss J's face was full of disdain. What kind of nonsense imperial doctor? If he were so skilled, would the Qing dynasty have fallen? Fortunately, Dr. Wang did not notice Miss J's contempt. Upon hearing that Dr. Wang's ancestors were imperial doctors, Abner's face immediately showed a look of respect, and he said with his accented Chinese, "Dr. Wang, please come this way. I'm entrusting my mother's care to you." Dr. Wang followed Mr. Abner into the house. After examining Abner's mother's condition, Dr. Wang shook his head. "This disease is too strange. I have been practicing medicine for more than a decade, and I have never seen such a strange disease. Not to mention ever encountering this disease, even the medical books of his family did not have any record of it." Upon hearing this, ridicule flashed in Miss J's eyes. She thought he was an incredibly famous doctor, but it turns out he couldn't even diagnose the disease. How embarrassing. Mr. Abner then asked, "Dr. Wang, what do you mean?" Dr. Wang stroked his beard. "You might want to seek out someone more skilled." The light in Abner's eyes dimmed bit by bit. Was there really no hope for his mother's illness? Li Long then spoke up. Dr. Wang, you're the most skilled traditional Chinese medicine doctor in Suzhou City. If even you can't treat it, who else can we turn to? Dr. Wang replied. Thank you for your compliment, but there's always a bigger fish. The depth and breadth of traditional Chinese medicine are vast. Just because I can't treat the disease, doesn't mean others can't. Miss Ji snorted. I told you long ago that traditional Chinese medicine is outdated, inflexible, and incapable of treating serious diseases. Li Long, you didn't believe me. Now do you see it with your own eyes? She belittled and dismissed traditional Chinese medicine in her words, infuriating Dr. Wang, who was listening. Young lady, how dare you speak this way? Miss Ji laughed. Don't get worked up. I'm not targeting you, I'm simply stating facts. What facts? You're insulting traditional Chinese medicine. As a practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine, Dr. Wang would not allow anyone to insult it. Miss Ji retorted. If traditional Chinese medicine is truly effective, why couldn't you cure Auntie's illness? I'll tell you a hard truth, don't take it to heart. We're now living in an era dominated by Western medicine. Traditional Chinese medicine should have been overthrown long ago. If our people don't strive, sooner or later, they will be enslaved. The tragedy of invasion will be repeated. This is due to my personal limitations and has nothing to do with traditional Chinese medicine. Dr. Wang replied. Since you think Western medicine is so powerful, why couldn't it cure this lattice illness? Miss Ji was left speechless. Chapter 468. I am Mr. Mog _6. Dr. Wang looked at Mr. Abner and continued. Traditional Chinese medicine has been passed down for thousands of years in our country. It has created countless miracles and has cured many difficult and complicated diseases. I may not be able to cure Madam's disease, but I am certain someone can. I have an elder brother who is also a practitioner of traditional Chinese medicine. His medical skills far outstrip mine. Once I return, I will consult my elder brother and other renowned ministers. Can't let the foreigners here look down on traditional Chinese medicine. The connections within traditional Chinese medicine should not be underestimated. With this network, I believe we can definitely find out the cause of the disease and cure the patient. Mr. Abner said. We appreciate your help. At this point, all he could do was try. It's better than waiting helplessly for his mother's demise. Dr. Wang said. You're welcome, this is part of a doctor's duty. Mr. Abner went on. Li Long, please escort Dr. Wang. All right. Li Long immediately escorted Dr. Wang inside. Watching the doctors come and go in waves, the middle-aged woman lying on the bed had a dim light in her eyes. Abner, she spoke weakly. Mom. Mr. Abner immediately ran over. She gripped Mr. Abner's hand tightly. Let it go, stop treating me, Mom is so tired. She had been treated for a year. Every day, she had to endure great pain, she was really tired. Mom, it's okay. You will get better. Mr. Abner tried to squeeze out a smile. The middle-aged woman closed her eyes, did not speak anymore. Her eyes and eyebrows were filled with a dull color. At the Inai family, Inai Yang was busy decorating a new house. The house had been renovated and was mostly furnished. The interior was covered with pure white marble, giving a shiny appearance to the walls. A high-end beautiful crystal chandelier was installed on the ceiling. In the living room, there was a background wall personally designed and painted by Inai Yang. Because it was self-designed, the decoration inside the house was very modernized, which gave Inai Yang a sense of returning to the modern world. She just placed the last pot of potholes on the coffee table when she heard footsteps coming down the spiral staircase. Looking back, it turned out to be Xiaozhou. Yang, Xiaozhou chimed while walking. Which decoration company did your house use? This decoration is too beautiful. Simple yet revealing a hint of quaintness, it was particularly beautiful. Inai Yang smiled and said, it was the uncles from the village who helped with the decoration. Xiao continued, I will find them to decorate my home next time. Inai Yang said, sure, I'll introduce them to you. And the painting on the wall is also beautiful. Did you find an artist to do it? The background wall depicted Change's flight to the moon. Although change was only a silhouette, it was very realistic, and it gave people the illusion that change was about to fly out of the wall. It showed that the painter was skilled. I painted this myself, Anai answered. Really? Xiao was surprised. Anai laughed lightly. Of course it's true. Yang, you're amazing. Even though Xiao knew Anai was very capable, she couldn't help but express surprise each time. Anai was modest and said, So. Oh yes. Xiao finally remembered the important thing. Zhang Xianjing has sent the money over. After she finished speaking, Xiaozhou took out 3 bundles of cash from her bag. So soon. Anai was somewhat surprised. This wealthy family really didn't lack money, just one phone call from Zhang Xianjing, and the money was already delivered. You count it. Xiao pushed the money in front of Anai. Anai split the 3 bundles of cash into 2 parts, and pushed one of them in front of Xiao. Xiao was surprised and said, What are you doing? Anai smiled and said, We split this money 50-50. No remuneration without merit. I can't accept this money, Xiaozhou refused. Anai said with a smile, Who said you are remuneration without merit? If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have earned this money at all. It's a fair split. Anai could not appear in public, and it would have been hard to get this money without Xiao's help. Anai had always been generous and understood the principle of repaying kindness with kindness. I really can't accept. Both Mo Qixin and Anai didn't seem to care about money, and they were all very generous. It appears that the saying birds of a feather flock together really does hold true. Go ahead and take it, Anai said. Or I won't have the nerve to ask for your help next time. Only then did Xiao accept. Anai took out an envelope and gave it to Xiao, then said, Could you help me mail this to Zhang Xianjing in Mr. Mo's name? Sure. Consider it done. Xiao nodded her head, took the envelope with stretched hand. Aren't you afraid that I will sneak a peek? Since the envelope wasn't sealed, it would be very easy to sneak a peek. Anai continued. If I was worried about you sneaking a peek, I wouldn't have given it to you. Being trusted feels really good. Thank you, Yang, Xiao said after a pause. Oh yes, the wedding date for Li Xianxian and Mo Baichuan has already been set. Chapter 469. Zhang Xianjing seeks out Fua father and son _1. They've set a date already? Anai raised her eyebrows slightly. Xiao nodded. Maybe they're worried about waiting too long and causing a fuss. The wedding is set for the 18th of this month. Anai nodded less noticeably, a faint smile in her eyes. It was hard to tell what she was thinking. Xiao continued. Mo Baichuan is getting married, shouldn't you as his 6th aunt prepare a big gift? Anai gave a soft smile. Of course. Xiao couldn't tell if he was imagining it, but he felt like Anai looked a bit gleeful. Yang, what gift have you prepared? It's a secret. Anai's red lips slightly parting, then added. It's getting late. Why don't you stay for dinner, Xiao? With nothing else planned for the evening and a curiosity about Anai's cooking skills, Xiaozhou agreed. As they headed downstairs, Xiaozhou asked, Yang, when are you planning to move in? Anai replied. In a few days, once the paint smell in the house has dispersed. Xiao nodded. As they passed through the yard, Anai casually fed a few bugs to the myna bird in the tree. Over the past month, the little bird's uneven feathers had all grown out. The feathers were shiny and stood out brilliantly while nibbling on the bugs. The bird nuzzled against Anai's palm. It couldn't have looked more docile and cute. Even Xiao, a grown man, found his heart softened as he petted the bird's head. Is this bird yours? He asked. The docile bird suddenly turned hostile, lashing out and pecking Xiao's hand. Anai laughed. Be careful, Duo is pretty aggressive. Hearing this, Duo seemed to understand Anai's words. It flapped its wings and glared threateningly at Xiaozhou as if it wanted to eat him. Riding the momentum of others indeed. Duo? That's its name? Yes. Anai nodded slightly. Xiao joked, Duo? More like, evil bird, chirp. Duo pecked Xiaozhou again. If you're so tough, do it again. Chirp. Xiao was furious. You evil bird. Try pecking me one more time. And Duo did exactly that, proving it was fearless. Xiaozhou was so angry. He rolled up his sleeves and said, "You're going down today." Duo took off into the air and continuously mocked Xiao. The war between man and bird officially began. Yang, a sweet voice suddenly echoed through the air. Suddenly, a lovely girl in a princess dress ran in from outside. Yin ran. Seeing who it was, Anai Yang's face softened into a smile. Li Yanran gave Anai Yang a big hug. Yang, I've missed you so much." Anai Yang patted her back and asked with a smile, "Where have you been recently?" Li Yanran replied, "I went to M country." Seeing that the newcomer was a girl, Xiaozhou dropped his bird-killing idea, stood there properly and smiled. "And who is this?" Li Yanran noticed Xiao. Anai Yang introduced them with a smile. "Yanran, this is my good friend Xiao. Xiao, this is my close friend Yanran." Xiao, the perfect gentleman, extended his hand to Li Yanran. "Hello, I'm Zhou Weijun. You can call me Xiao, just like Yang does." As polite as ever, Li Yanran shook Xiao's hand and said, "I'm Li Yanran, but you can call me Yanran." Why did Li Yanran look so familiar? Snot sister. Xiao tentatively uttered this childhood nickname. The smile on Li Yanran's face froze. Back when they were kids, since she always had a runny nose, everyone called her Snot sister. But after primary school, no one had called her that anymore. Not many people knew her childhood nickname. Who was this annoying guy? Li Yanran squinted her eyes and asked, "Dimwit." Xiao smilingly said, Yes, that's me. Goodness, Snot sister, you've changed so much. It's hard to believe. Who would have thought that you would transform from the way you were as a child to how you are now?" Xiao looked genuinely shocked. "Dimwit, can't you speak properly? What do you mean by the way I was as a child? How was I as a child?" She retorted as if he was suggesting something shameful about her past. Xiao continued, "Don't you remember? As a kid, you always had snot bubbles dripping from your nose. That's why everyone called you Snot sister." Chapter 470. Zhang Xianjing approaches Fua father and son _2. Li Yanran spoke irritably. "I don't have a runny nose anymore." As a modern woman, Li Yanran didn't want to have anything to do with snot, but this blockhead Zhou kept associating her with the nickname Nose Drip Sister. If others found out about her obscure nickname, Nose Drip Sister, how could she carry on? Although you don't have a runny nose now, you did when you were little. Speaking of which, Nose Drip Sister, where are you now? When did you change your name? I recall you were Li Sanchun before, weren't you? Li Yanran gave a dry laugh. You remembered wrong. I've always been Li Yanran. Li Yanran was indeed originally known as Li Sanchun. Her grandfather personally named her. Later, an aunt who had been studying abroad thought the name was too unsophisticated and changed it to Li Yanran. Did I recall wrong? Xiao scratched his head. I don't think so. You were clearly Li Sanchun. Anai Yang stepped in, trying to lighten the atmosphere. Xiaozhou, you might've gotten it wrong. Let's head that way. I've recently come up with a new dessert. Want to give it a try? Sure. After hearing about the dessert, Li Yanran forgot all her discomfort. Peep. Duo flew from the tree onto Anai Yang's shoulder. Wow. This little bird is so well behaved. Li Yanran reached out to pet Duo's head as she spoke. Before Xiao could caution Li Yanran against being pecked, Duo was already rubbing against Li Yanran's hand, like a cat purring happily. This was strange indeed. Could it be that this often troublesome bird has suddenly changed its nature? Xiao, obstinately unconvinced, reached out to pet Duo's head. Peep. Duo promptly snapped at him. Xiao. Damn. The perverted bird. Well done. Li Yanran praised, petting Duo's head. Duo comfortably closed its eyes. Roused by Li Yanran's praise, Duo launched yet another attack on Xiao. Xiao whimpered. Nose Drip Sister, what did I do to deserve this? Did you really need to help this bird bully me? Li Yanran turned to look at Xiao, iterated emphatically. Zhou Weijun, I am warning you. Don't ever call me Nose Drip Sister again. Does he have a problem? She's a grown woman now. Does he think she would tolerate being constantly called Nose Drip Sister? Doesn't she have any dignity left? Why? Xiao scratched his head. Aren't nicknames meant to be used? Li Yanran was livid. Call me Li Yanran, thank you. But I remember you as Li Sanchun. Zhou Weijun. You're being really irritating. Li Yanran glared at Xiao furiously. She turned and stomped off, no longer acknowledging Xiao. Nose drip sister. Nose drip sister. Xiao chased after Li Yanran's steps, but she ignored him. The saying about a woman's heart being as deep as the sea rang true. For no apparent reason, she had become angry? Xiaozhou furrowed his eyebrows, not understanding. He moved next to Enai Yang and asked in a low voice, Yang, what's up with Nose Drip sister? She's angry. Enai Yang replied. Who has she taken offense with? Xiao was perplexed. Enai Yang said, she's angry at you. Xiao scratched his head, looking exasperated. Angry at me? I didn't provoke her, nor did I offend her. What is she getting angry about? Women are indeed quite strange. Can't afford to provoke, can't afford to provoke. This was truly a calamity not of his making. Boys like Xiao could best be described in modern terms as steel-hardened straight males. Enai Yang laughed. All girls love to be beautiful, and you calling her Nose Drip sister all the time. Isn't it natural that she gets angry? Xiao sighed. What's there to be angry about? You girls are just so strange. Enai Yang continued. In any case, just stop calling Yanran Nose Drip sister, alright? Fine. If you say so, I won't call her that. As he finished speaking, Xiaozhou caught up with Li Yanran and continued. I'm sorry, Nose Drip sister. I promise not to call you that anymore. Li Yanran. You can keep your hollow gratitude to yourself. With a smile, Enai Yang led the two to the living room. You two sit here. I will make the dessert. The dessert Enai Yang planned to make was red bean taro balls. Taro balls is a type of snack from Minnan, southern Fujian province. It's made from cassava starch. Enai Yang took out 3 different colored balls of cassava starch from the fridge. She kneaded the dough into a rectangular shape, cut it into small pieces and boiled it. Then, she put the cooked taro balls into chilled red bean soup. She added sago and whole milk, then garnished the bowl with some mint leaves and lemon slices. A delicious and good-looking bowl of red bean taro balls was ready to be served. Chapter 471. Zheng Xianjing looks for Fua father and son _3. Since all the ingredients were prepared in advance, it took only a few minutes to make 4 bowls of taro balls. Enai Yang brought the cooked taro balls to the table. Li Yanran exclaimed in surprise. Yang, what kind of dessert did you make? It looks so beautiful. Enai Yang said, this is a traditional snack from southern Fujian called red bean taro balls. Give it a try. Li Yanran took a spoon and tasted it. The mouthfeel was a mixture of the chewiness of red beans and the creaminess of milk, exhibiting a rich, fragrant flavor that also emitted a light refreshing scent, somewhat similar to lemon, yet it also smelled mildly like mint. It was satisfying and refreshing. She gently bit into a taro ball, finding it pleasantly chewy with a hint of sweet potato fragrance. It was absolutely delicious. Li Yanran had never tasted such a delicious dessert. Delicious, it's really delicious. Li Yanran said vaguely. Yang, what are these chewy little balls made of? The taro balls were indeed delightful. Even Xiao, who didn't usually have a sweet tooth, found them irresistible. Enai Yang explained with a smile. The purple ones are made from sweet potato and cassava flour, the yellow ones are pumpkin, and the white ones are potato. Yang, you are really talented. Li Yanran hugged Enai Yang around the waist. If I were a boy, I'd definitely marry you. Enai Yang said. Eat as much as you like, and if it's not enough, there's more in the fridge. All right. Li Yanran nodded hastily. Enai Yang went back into the house to call Enai Tsuehua. Mom, come out for dessert. Okay. Enai Tsuehua walked out of the room. Where's Yin? Enai Yang continued to ask. She's asleep. Oh. Enai Yang nodded slightly. Mother and daughter came to the living room, where Xiaozhou and Li Yanran politely greeted Enai Tsuehua. After finishing the dessert, Enai Yang asked, Yanran, Xiaozhou, what do you want to eat tonight? Li Yanran said, I like anything you cook, Yang. Everything made by Inai Yang was definitely a delicacy. Xiao said. "I'm like booger girl, anything goes." Li Yanran shot Xiao a fierce glare. Only then did Xiaozhou realize he'd put his foot in his mouth, and quickly corrected himself. "I'm like Yanran, anything goes." "Then let's have hot pot tonight." The hot pot was both delicious and convenient. It was appropriate for a big group of people since cooking individual dishes could be troublesome. "Yang Yang, I'll help you wash the vegetables." Li Yanran quickly followed Inai Yang. "Yang Yang, you'll help too." Xiao also joined in the fun. In no time, the small kitchen filled with cheerful laughter and the appetizing aroma of hot pot ingredients. Inai Yang made a spicy oil base and a clear soup base for the hot pot. The spicy oil was made from beef tallow, chili peppers and star anise, while the clear soup was made from a broth stewed with an old hen and mushrooms. Inai Yang prepared some homemade fish tofu, shrimp paste, meatballs, thinly sliced lamb, vegetables, tofu, etc. for the hot pot ingredients. Having a bite of the spicy and fragrant hot pot ingredient, followed by a sip of chilled sour plum soup, the taste was absolutely refreshing. Neither Xiao nor Li Yanran had ever tasted such a delicious hot pot. They were so excited that they were at a loss for words. The boiling spicy oil reflected the smiling faces of everyone, creating a warm and harmonious atmosphere. Xiao was a responsible person. That night he had the items sent over to Zhang Xianjing. The day after receiving the items, Zhang Xianjing couldn't wait to visit Walt Road. When she arrived, she happened to see a boy named Fua playing by the roadside. He was a skinny little boy, even skinnier than he looked in the photos. He was wearing tattered clothes, had no shoes that fit his feet, and looked no different from a beggar. Normally, Zhang Xianjing would not give this little beggar a second glance. But today was different. Because this child was her only trump card to take down Li Xianxian. If the information was true, then Li Xianxian's life would be ruined. Never mind that she was carrying Mo Baichuan's child. Even if she were bearing a dragon, it would be useless. At the thought of this, an unmistakable smugness passed across Zhang Xianjing's eyes. "Little friend." Zhang Xianjing squatted down in front of Fua, trying to muster a gentle smile. Fua backed away a step, looking slightly afraid and asked, Who are you?" Zhang Xianjing took a step forward. "Don't be scared, little friend. I'm not a bad person. I'm here to help you." Fua didn't respond, but watched Zhang Xianjing vigilantly. Zhang Xianjing continued, "Is your name Fua?" Chapter 472. Zhang Xianjing goes to Fua father and son _4. Fua nodded his head in affirmation. Zhang Xianjing continued, "Fua, how old are you this year?" Fua remained silent. Zhang Xianjing continued further, "Are you 6 years old?" Fua nodded his head again. Zhang Xianjing pursued, "Fua, where is your father?" "He's gone to work." After Inai Yang's treatment, Zhou Tianbao was completely healed and now, he was hefting bags of rice for others at the rice merchants. Though the labor wasn't high-paying, it was enough for the father and son to survive. "Fua, where is your mother?" Fua shook his head. "I don't have a mother." Seeing this, Zhang Xianjing squinted her eyes. It turned out that the information she had was indeed accurate. Li Xianxian is just a malicious woman who abandoned her husband and child. A woman who had given birth to a child and had a husband. Yet she had the audacity to imagine marrying into the Mo family. She was truly shameless. A look of disdain filled Zhang Xianjing's eyes. "Fua, do you want to find your mother?" she asked. No. Fua, who had never experienced maternal love, had a vague impression of his mother. Having his father was enough. Doesn't want to find his mother? Another ingrate. He doesn't want his mother anymore. As the saying goes, as the beam is, so is the pillar beneath. Zhang Xianjing continued. "Fua, I know your mother, Sun Dalian. Would you like me to take you to find her?" No. Fua shook his head again. Zhang Xianjing furrowed her brows slightly. "You child. How can you not want your own mother?" Fua retorted loudly. "She was the one who didn't want me first." Zhang Xianjing didn't want to argue with Fua. She simply asked, "When will your father come back?" Fua didn't reply. Zhang Xianjing continued, "Will your father be back for lunch?" Fua nodded his head with tears welling up in his eyes. Zhang Xianjing looked at her wristwatch. It was 11 in the morning. If Zhou Tianbao was coming back for lunch, he shouldn't be long. Fua, would you take your sister to wait at your place for your father? Fua hesitated for a moment before nodding his head. Ever since Fua's home was tidied up by house cleaners, it had remained the same. Spotless. But for someone of Zhang Xianjing's affluent background, this environment was still unappealing and chaotic. Staying even a minute more was torture. At 12:30, a short man walked in from outside. This man was Zhou Tianbao. Fua immediately rushed up to him, exclaiming, "Dad." Zhang Xianjing also stood up with a shine in her eyes. "Are you Zhou Tianbao?" Zhou Tianbao wore a stern look. "Who are you? What are you doing in my house?" Would a destitute beggar dare to use such an attitude with her? This was totally uncalled for. Suppressing the fire in her heart, Zhang Xianjing continued. "You must be Zhou Tianbao, right? My last name is Zhang. I am here to help you. I don't need anyone's help, you can leave." Zhou Tianbao pointed towards the door, speaking dismissively. "I really came to help you," Zhang Xianjing emphasized. "I've news about your wife, Sun Dalian." She assumed that after delivering this bombshell news, Zhou Tianbao would definitely be very excited. But instead, Zhou Tianbao had a displeased look on his face. What's going on? Did Li Xianxian abandon her husband and child, and Zhou Tianbao didn't get angry at all? Zhang Xianjing was extremely puzzled. Zhou Tianbao spoke then. "What does news about Sun Dalian have to do with me?" "Isn't Sun Dalian your wife?" Zhang Xianjing asked. "Don't you want to find her?" "We're not husband and wife anymore," Zhou Tianbao stated. "Do you have anything else to say? If not, please leave immediately." Zhou Tianbao's face was stern, not joking at all. The way things went was totally different from what Zhang Xianjing had imagined. In her imagination, Zhou Tianbao would be eternally grateful to her if she told him about Li Xianxian. Whatever she asked him to do, he would obediently do. She didn't expect that Zhou Tianbao would show such indifference. This was just unbelievable. Zhang Xianjing questioned. "Don't you want to know about Sun Dalian's current status?" "No." Zhou Tianbao shook his head. Zhang Xianjing continued. "Sun Dalian has changed her name to Li Xianxian now. Moreover, she is about to get married. Her wedding date is set for next year." Upon hearing this, Zhou Tianbao's face still didn't display any particular expression. It's as if nothing had happened at all. "Don't you feel angry at all?" Zhang Xianjing asked. "What is there to be angry about?" Zhou Tianbao retorted. Chapter 473. Zhang Xianjing seeks out Fua father and son _5. Sun Dalian has abandoned her husband and child and remarried under a false identity. You guys are struggling to make ends meet, while she lives a lavish life. Don't you as her husband, feel anything about it? At this point Zhang Xianjing pausing said, "I can help you now. Shall I help you find Sun Dalian?" "Help us?" Zhou Tianbao laughed. "Don't you mean exploit us? Look at what you're saying. I kindly offered to take you to see Sun Dalian. It's one thing if you're ungrateful, but to claim I'm using you. Aren't you unappreciative?" At her last comment, Zhang Xianjing put more emphasis on her tone. Zhou Tianbao in his nonchalant manner said, "We appreciate your kind intentions, but we don't need your help." "You'll regret it," retorted Zhang Xianjing. "You're missing a golden opportunity." Zhou Tianbao remained resolute. "Rest assured, I won't regret it." Zhang Xianjing felt disconcerted. She hadn't expected Zhou Tianbao to have such an attitude. If Zhou Tianbao doesn't want to find Li Xianxian, then her entire effort to find Li Xianxian would be in vain. Mrs. Mo and Baichuan wouldn't trust her word alone. What now? Zhang Xianjing frowned. "Why are you like this? I'm here to help you, and you're not grateful. You want to use us to deal with Sun Dalian, don't you? Use us as cannon fodder, right?" When confronted with Zhou Tianbao's accurate guess, Zhang Xianjing felt a bit awkward. Originally, she had planned to take Zhou Tianbao and Fua to see Li Xianxian, hoping that Li Xianxian would reveal her true colors in front of Mo family members and kill two birds with one stone. But Zhou Tianbao was uncooperative. What was so good about Li Xianxian? She abandoned her husband and child, yet Zhou Tianbao was defending her. So what do you want? Asked Zhang Xianjing. If you want us to help you, fine. Zhou Tianbao turned to Zhang Xianjing, but I have a requirement. A requirement? She takes Zhou Tianbao to find Li Xianxian, and he sets conditions. Wasn't that going too far? You have to realize that I'm helping you. Zhang Xianjing's face darkened. Zhou Tianbao said, you also need to understand that we don't need your help. Zhang Xianjing took a deep breath. Speak. As compensation, we want 10,000 yuan. We, father and son, will then fully comply. That's a lot of money. Zhou Tianbao's heart was racing as he spoke. Would Zhang Xianjing agree to his conditions? 10,000 yuan? With the 30,000 yuan Mo's man asked for, that would total 40,000 yuan. Zhang Xianjing started to suspect that this was all a trap orchestrated by Mr. Mo. Don't push your luck, said Zhang Xianjing, her face darkening. Zhou Tianbao confidently said, whether you are willing to pay is up to you. I won't force it. The most I can give is 1,000. Zhang Xianjing gritted her teeth. The door's over there. Zhou Tianbao pointed toward the exit. Zhang Xianjing took a deep breath. 2,000. Zhou Tianbao stood firm. Not a penny less. Insatiable. Zhou Tianbao responded. You should know whether this 10,000 yuan is worth it. Indeed, his words hit Zhang Xianjing where it hurt. If she could ruin Li Xianxian completely with 10,000 yuan, it would be worth it. Moreover, she had already spent 30,000 yuan. Could she really turn back for just 10,000 yuan? Zhang Xianjing remained silent for a while, then said, fine, 10,000 it is. I'll give you every penny once it's done, but for now, you need to follow my instructions. Payment first, work later, Zhou Tianbao said. Do you think I might cheat you out of your money? Possibly. Poor people will always be poor. Such small-mindedness. This was the first time Zhang Xianjing was left speechless by such a petty action. I will bring you the money tomorrow. Okay. Zhou Tianbao nodded. Then come back tomorrow. Zhang Xianjing pulled a 7-inch photo from her pocket, then asked, do you know this person? She's Sun Dalian. Zhou Tianbao answered indifferently. However, immense resentment surged within him. Years ago, when Sun Dalian abandoned them, Fua had a high fever of 39 degrees. He was on the brink of death. Over the years, he had wanted to find Sun Dalian every second of the day, but he had never been successful. Upon seeing that Zhou Tianbao could recognize Li Xianxian, Zhang Xianjing felt assured and said, I'll come find you again tomorrow. Before then, don't go anywhere. Zhou Tianbao nodded. Zhang Xianjing left Walt Road satisfied, feeling exhilarated. Zhou Tianbao watched the retreating figure of Zhang Xianjing, feeling an indescribable sensation. Days before, when Enai Yang had come over for a checkup, she had told him about this. In a few days someone would come, claiming that they could lead him to Sun Dalian. Zhou Tianbao was ecstatic at that time. Over the years, he dreamed of finding Sun Dalian. They had come all the way to Beijing for the sole purpose of finding her. But Enai Yang told him not to agree hastily. She instructed him to demand 10,000 yuan. Zhou Tianbao was astounded then. The other party could lead him to Li Xianxian, and there was also a hefty reward. Could there be such a good thing in this world? Initially he was a bit incredulous. Who could have anticipated that all these were actually true? Enai Yang was truly the lucky star of their family. She not only cured his legs but also helped him find Sun Dalian. Moreover, she had helped him earn unexpected wealth. Fua. Zhou Tianbao called for Fua. Daddy. Fua came running. Zhou Tianbao continued. Fua, from now on you cannot tell anyone you know Sister Enai Yang. Although Enai Yang hadn't said anything to him, Zhou Tianbao had a hunch. If they told other people they knew Enai Yang, it would definitely cause trouble for her. Enai Yang was their benefactor. He couldn't cause her any difficulty. Why? Fua looked at Zhou Tianbao with confusion. Zhou Tianbao said, because by doing so, we might cause trouble for Sister Enai Yang. Would you like to see Sister Enai Yang distressed? Hearing this, Fua shook his head. No. Then listen to Dad. From now on, you have to pretend not to know Sister Enai Yang in places where there are many people. Okay, I understand, Dad. Fua nodded wisely. Mo Baichuan's wedding was approaching. The Mo family was very busy. After all, Mo Baichuan is the legitimate eldest grandson of Mo family, so his wedding cannot be simple. Baichuan, you have beautiful handwriting, so let's leave the invitation cards to you. Xiao Jiao handed Mo Baichuan a stack of invitations. All right, Mom. Mo Baichuan nodded. Xiao Jiao continued, Baichuan, have you been visiting Xianxian these days? Mo Baichuan paused for a moment before replying. I've been too busy these days, Xiao Jiao went on. Baichuan, Xianxian is pregnant now, and it is a critical period. She feels sensitive and has no other close family members. There are more than 10 days left before your wedding. You should find some time to see her. Xiao Jiao also felt sorry for Li Xianxian, who is an orphan. While it's bustling over at Mo's house, she was solitary and alone. Mo Baichuan nodded. All right, I got it, Mom. As long as you understand. Xiao Jiao added. And by the way, don't forget to write an invitation for your sixth uncle's girlfriend. Your grandmother specifically asked me about it. Mo Baichuan looked up at Xiao Jiao. Sixth uncle's girlfriend? Xiao Jiao smiled and said, the girl named Enai Yang, who came to our house for your grandmother's birthday last time. Mo Baichuan was startled. Right. How could he forget that Enai Yang is now Mo Kishan's girlfriend? Chapter 474. The wedding proceeds as scheduled _1. Enai Yang is Mo Kishan's girlfriend. And he is also about to marry Li Xianxian. No. Mo Baichuan suddenly remembered. During his last birthday party, Enai Yang did not come with Mo Qishan. Hadn't she already broken up with Mo Qishan? Didn't Enai Yang already break up with Uncle Lu? Mo Baichuan continued. Broke up. Xiao Jiao furrowed her brows and continued. I don't think so. This morning, your grandmother was still discussing their marriage with your Uncle Lu. You are 27 this year and Uncle Lu is a year older than you. I reckon they should be getting married soon too. Could it be that Enai Yang and Mo Qishan hadn't broken up? Was it all just his speculation? Mo Baichuan's expression darkened, and he felt a heaviness in his heart, a sudden feeling of being suffocated. Xiao Jiao continued. Enai Yang is a very good girl. Your grandpa and grandma both really like her. It's just that she was born lowly. I heard she only finished middle school. Though Enai Yang is pretty, her education level is too low and she is only a noodle vendor. Compared to Li Xianxian, she falls far behind. Though Li Xianxian is an orphan, she is a proper university student, studying at a domestic university, which is quite prestigious. But on the other hand, it seems that Mo Qishan can only match up with someone like this. A girl as outstanding as Zhao Jingrong would never look at Mo Qishan. After all, Mo Qishan is just a good-for-nothing. What kind of affluent family's girl could he possibly marry? Even though she only finished middle school, her ambitions are not small. Mo Baichuan said with a cryptic expression. Xiao Jiao was taken aback. What do you mean? Mo Baichuan said, she's just a noodle vendor. If she didn't have some tact, how could she have possibly won the favor of my grandparents? When Master Mo and Madame Mo were young, they had both experienced the hail of bullets in war, and an ordinary person wouldn't catch their eyes. Could an ordinary person pull off this? Besides, Mo Baichuan suspected that Enai Yang was reluctant to break up with Mo Qishan because she had other motives. Xiao Jiao said, Enai Yang does indeed seem like a likable kid. Plus, she saved Xiaodai, so it's normal for your grandparents to like her. Apart from her low status, Xiao Jiao didn't see any other flaws in Enai Yang. Mo Baichuan's expression was cryptic as he started to write on the invitation. After writing one invitation, Mo Baichuan picked up the coat hanging on the rack and began to walk towards the door. Baichuan, where are you going? Xiao Jiao asked from behind. Delivering the invitation, Mo Baichuan replied. Who are you giving it to? Xiao Jiao continued. Who sends out invitations one by one? You should write them all out then deliver them all together. Mo Baichuan did not answer and disappeared out the door. Sometime later, the sound of a car engine came from outside. Mo Baichuan drove all the way to Jinghua village. Because the dirt road was inconvenient, he parked the car at the entrance of the village and walked to the Enai family's courtyard. The courtyard door was half closed. Through blooming banana flowers he could somewhat see a slender figure. She was in black cotton shorts, revealing 2 slender and fair long legs, wearing a white camisole on top. She was wearing flip-flops, standing under an osmanthus tree feeding the birds insects. Because of the movement, when she stood on her toes, a small part of her slender waist was exposed. It was quite captivating. From where Mo Baichuan was standing, he could see her profile. Her long, dense eyelashes cast a shallow shadow on her nose. Why would she dress like this in broad daylight? Did she know he was coming and intentionally dress this way? Was this how a decent woman should dress? Mo Baichuan slightly frowned, took a step back and knocked on the door. The door isn't locked, just come in. Enai Yang's voice came from inside. Mo Baichuan pushed the door and entered. When Enai Yang saw that the visitor was Mo Baichuan, she was taken aback for a moment, then said, "Why are you here?" "I came to give you the invitation." Mo Baichuan handed over the big red invitation to Enai Yang. Enai Yang reached out and took it. "Congratulations, winning the beauty." No matter how Mo Baichuan heard it, he felt that there was some bitterness in her words. It made sense. He was about to get married to Li Xianxian. Enai Yang must be very upset now. Mo Baichuan narrowed his eyes and said, "The wedding is set for the 18th. If you sincerely want to attend the wedding, I will be very happy. But if you have other intentions, don't blame me for not being polite." Chapter 475. The wedding was held as scheduled _2. Mo Baichuan had come over this time to confront Enai Yang. He was worried that Enai Yang would disrupt his wedding to Li Xianxian. Li Xianxian was already pregnant, and Mo Baichuan did not want her to suffer any further grievances. Even at this point, Mo Baichuan was still so narcissistic. Hadn't she made herself clear last time? Enai Yang was somewhat speechless. At the same time, Enai Yang felt relieved that she had entrusted this matter to Zhang Xianjing. If she had personally dealt with Li Xianxian, who knew how Mo Baichuan would have misunderstood the situation. "Nephew, I suggest you spend less time admiring yourself in the mirror." Enai Yang spoke softly, without a trace of sorrow in her eyes or expression. Mo Baichuan furrowed his brows slightly. If Enai Yang was pretending, then her acting skills were quite powerful indeed. Had he been wrong from the start? Or was she pretending now? Just then, the sound of footsteps were heard again from outside the yard. Enai Yang looked up and saw a pair of radiant eyes. She stood up to greet him. "Big brother Mo. Yang." Mo Qishan reached out to take Enai Yang's hand, furrowing his brows slightly. "Why are you dressed so lightly?" As he spoke, he naturally removed his white shirt and draped it over Enai Yang. The pure white men's shirt was just long enough to cover Enai Yang's shorts, creating an immediate impression of a child wearing an adult's clothing. Mo Qishan bent down to fasten the shirt buttons one by one. Enai Yang's outfit was quite common in modern times, and even in the 80s, it wouldn't have been considered unusual. She hadn't expected Mo Qishan to be so conservative. "Big brother Mo, are you done?" Enai Yang asked, looking down slightly. "Just one more button." Mo Qishan answered without looking up. The scene was somewhat glaring. Mo Baichuan furrowed his brows, stepped forward and said, "Uncle Six." Mo Qishan nodded slightly. His expression didn't reveal any emotion. "Why are you here?" "I'm here to deliver the wedding invitation to my future Aunt Six." Mo Baichuan replied. "Have you delivered it?" "I have." Mo Qishan glanced at Mo Baichuan, his thin lips slightly parted. "Since you have already delivered it, why don't you leave? Are you planning on spending the new year at your Aunt Six's house?" Just the thought that Mo Baichuan had seen his wife's long legs and slender waist irritated Mo Qishan. His wife was his, and only he had the right to look. Mo Baichuan's face flashed with a hint of embarrassment before saying, "Uncle Six, then I'll be on my way." "Go ahead." Mo Qishan said, "Your Aunt Six and I are busy." Mo Baichuan glanced at Enai Yang before turning around to leave. His face clouded with embarrassment. Enai Yang didn't pay any more attention to Mo Baichuan. Holding Mo Qishan's hand, they headed inside. "Big brother Mo, let's go inside. It's hot out here." Since entering the room, Mo Qishan's face was rigid, his lips nearly a thin line, and he remained silent. "Big brother Mo, what's wrong?" and Yang brought him a bowl of red bean taro balls. Try the taro balls I made. Are they good? Mo Qishan didn't say a word. Big brother Mo? And Yang waved her hand in front of his eyes. If you don't say anything, I'll go wash my hair. Saying that, Yang turned around to walk outside. Just then, her wrist was grabbed. A sudden force yanked her back, and in a dizzying whirl, she was pulled onto Mo Qishan's lap. Mo Qishan held her waist tightly with both hands, buried his chin in the hollow of her neck, and mumbled, Yang, I'm angry. Ah. And Yang was taken aback. Cajole me now. Mo Qishan whined like a 5-year-old child. And Yang chuckled, looking at Mo Qishan while cupping his face. Aren't you being childish? I'm really angry. And Yang smiled and said, Then, I'll make you a delicious dinner tonight. Will you stop being angry then? No. Then I'll say sorry. I'm sorry, it was my bad. No. Mo Qishan shook his head. I'm still very angry. Mo Qishan looked discontentedly at Yang. Yang, I'm still very angry. Yang's face turned stern. Mo Qishan, enough is enough. Mo Qishan still wanted Yang to kiss him again. I'm really very angry. Yang didn't indulge him anymore and turned to walk out of the room. Mo Qishan, like a lord, sat on the chair, expecting Yang to come to placate him. A minute, 2 minutes, then soon 3 minutes passed by. Chapter 476. The wedding takes place as planned _3. Mo Qishan now felt a bit uncomfortable, and turned his gaze toward the door. Yang was watering the plants in the yard with her watering can. Giddily, Mo Qishan ran up to her and said, Yang. Yang didn't respond. Mo Qishan continued, Wifey. Yang still ignored him. Mo Qishan went on, Wifey, I was wrong. I shouldn't have pushed my luck. Can you stop ignoring me, please? Wifey, let me help you water the plants. Mo Qishan took the watering can from Yang. Wifey, can you crack a smile, please? You're scaring me like this. Mo Qishan was genuinely nervous and a bit scared. Next time dare to misbehave? Yang sternly grabbed his ear. I dare not do it again, I don't. Mo Qishan quickly nodded. I promise I'll always follow the leader's orders. 1 if the leader says 1. 2 if the leader says 2. Yang slightly curved her lips into a shallow smile, dimples appearing at the corners of her mouth, before turning and heading into the house. Mo Qishan didn't dare to ask anything else. Instead, he focused attentively on watering the plants. After a while, Yang came out of the room. She had changed into a vintage-styled short shirt with a standing collar, paired with a pair of black wide-leg pants below. The vintage look was sophisticated, yet with a hint of playfulness. Here, you should have this. Yang handed the white shirt back to Mo Qishan. Mo Qishan asked, Yang, how come you're not wearing it? Yang replied, You should put it on. What do you look like topless? Although Mo Qishan did have a good figure, with abs and well-toned muscles, after all, this was the 80s. If other people saw Mo Qishan's upper body exposed, the gossip wouldn't be good. It was then Mo Qishan realized he didn't have his shirt on, so he quickly put on the white shirt, making sure to flatter, Wifey, you're so considerate. What did he do to deserve such a wonderful wife? You sweet talker. Yang lightly smiled. Although she knew Mo Qishan was merely buttering her up, each time, Yang indeed fell for it. Seeing Yang smile, Mo Qishan quietly sighed in relief. After returning home, Zheng Xianjing told Zheng Lingling about Zhou Tianba's request. Hearing this, Zheng Lingling frowned. 10,000 yuan? Or to help him and also pay him 10,000 yuan? The 30,000 yuan required a few days ago had already given Zheng Lingling a hard time. Where was she supposed to find the remaining 10,000 yuan? Zheng Xianjing sighed. Unfortunately, Li Xianxian is really something. Despite abandoning her husband and child, Zhou Tianbao still defends her. Xianjing, could you try if it's possible to give him the money at the beginning of next month? The beginning of the month is when you have pocket money. Currently, Zheng Lingling had absolutely no cash on her. No way. Zheng Xianjing said, by the beginning of next month, that bitch Li Xianxian will already be married to Mo Baichuan. When is the wedding of the Mo family set? Zheng Lingling asked. This month on the 18th. Zheng Xianjing answered. So soon? Zheng Lingling narrowed her eyes. Zheng Xianjing added. If it's any later, would Li Xiangxian's belly be able to wait? Zheng Lingling nodded in agreement. You're right, Xianjing. She then asked, So Xianjing, you plan to stir up trouble at the wedding? Zheng Xianjing nodded. Of course, the more drama the better. It was about time Li Xianxian, who had flaunted in front of her for so long, suffered. She intended to embarrass Li Xianxian in front of everyone, so that she would never be able to hold her head up high. Moreover, Li Xianxian was pregnant. If this matter was not made a big deal of, what if the Mo family chose to settle for peace because of the child? Zheng Xianjing couldn't take that risk. Zheng Lingling suggested. In that case, I have a set of jewelry that I don't particularly like. It should be worth around 10,000 yuan. Thank you, Mom. Zheng Xianjing's eyes lit up, then she asked, By the way, Mom, where did you get the 30,000 yuan last time? I borrowed it. From whom? Zheng Lingling explained. A mahjong buddy, you don't know him. Oh, Zheng Xianjing nodded. Zheng Lingling stood up to leave. Wait for me here, Xianjing. I'll go upstairs and get the jewelry. It was a simple platinum diamond necklace which she had bought for over 20,000 yuan at the time, so it should more than cover the 10,000 yuan she needed. Zheng Xianjing accepted the jewelry, then I'll go have it exchanged right now. Mo Qishan got home from his dinner at Nai Yang's well past 7 in the evening. When he arrived, Mo Baichuan was calligraphing couplets on the living room table. Nephew. Mo Qishan approached Mo Baichuan. Chapter 477. The wedding takes place as planned _4. Uncle Six, do you need anything? Mo Baichuan put down his brush. Mo Qishan continued. Dear nephew, I suggest you reconsider your marriage to Li Xianxian. She's not as simple as you think. Regardless, Mo Baichuan was the only child of his brother and the eldest legitimate grandson of the Mo family. Mo Qishan couldn't bear to see Mo Baichuan sink into a pitfall. Did Yang send you to say these things? Mo Baichuan sneered at Mo Qishan. No wonder Yang refused to break up with Mo Qishan. So this was her plan. Mo Qishan frowned slightly. This matter has nothing to do with your sixth aunt. Mo Baichuan continued. Uncle Six, you know if it matters or not. Li Xianxian is already pregnant with my child. No matter what you say, I will stand by Li Xianxian. From Mo Baichuan's words, Mo Qishan could deduce that his nephew was beyond saving. Indeed, as Yang had said, terrifyingly narcissistic. Mo Qishan bluntly responded, so she got pregnant just like that after one time? Nephew, don't be a fool who can't even see when he's being cuckolded. After all, this was his birth nephew. Mo Qishan still needed to say what should be said. Uncle Six. Mo Baichuan's face stiffened. You're crossing a line. I trust Li Xianxian. Useless. His words were completely illogical. Li Xianxian gave him her first time. How could she possibly cheat on him? Besides, Li Xianxian was not that kind of person. Mo Qishan's words were too outrageous. Not only did he damage Li Xiangxian's reputation, he indirectly insulted his dignity. I have spoken my mind. Whether you listen or not is up to you. Mo Qishan did not want to waste more words with him. Mo Baichuan looked at Mo Qishan and continued. Didn't Yang have you pass on this message? Without a doubt. These words must have come from Yang. She intended to use Mo Qishan to ruin his wedding with Li Xianxian. Even if it was from Yang, Mo Qishan should have thought twice about whether he should say it out loud. Mo Qishan sighed helplessly. Nephew, paranoia is a disease, it needs treatment. Mo Baichuan replied. Uncle Six, don't let yourself be used as someone's tool unknowingly. Mo Qishan didn't want to waste more words with him and continued. I wish you and Miss Xianxian a long and happy life together. With that, Mo Qishan turned around and headed upstairs. Mo Baichuan continued writing invitations. The next day, Zheng Xianjing delivered the cash to Zhou Tianbao's house as promised, and explained some details to Zhou Tianbao. Zhou Tianbao said, Miss Zheng, rest assured, since I have taken your money, I will not disappoint you. Remember your words. Zheng Xianjing narrowed her eyes. If you dare to play any tricks, I'll make you regret it. After some discussions, Zhang Xianjing left Walt Road. Days flew by quickly. In the blink of an eye, it was the day of Mo Baichuan and Li Xiangxian's wedding. The wedding was held at the Mo family's old house. Many prestigious families from Beijing personally attended to give their blessings. Li Xianxian sat in front of the dressing mirror. A smirk surfaced in her eyes when she saw her finely made-up self reflected back. She had finally waited for this day. From now on, she would be the high-profile Madame Mog, an object of envy in Beijing. Miss Li, it's time to change into your wedding dress. The makeup artist brought in an imported wedding gown. Not many people wore wedding gowns in those times, and country folks hadn't even seen one. Looking at the magnificent wedding gown, Li Xianxian was reminded of her previous wedding. 6 years ago, when she was pregnant and getting married to Zhou Tianbao, she didn't even have a decent red gown, let alone a wedding dress. 6 years later, through her own efforts, she had become the happiest bride in the world. It all felt like a dream. Miss Li. Seeing her lost in thought, the makeup artist reminded her. All right, I'm coming right away. Li Xianxian snapped out of her trance and took the wedding gown. The makeup artist followed Li Xianxian. Li Xianxian said, I can change on my own, there's no need for you to follow. The makeup artist answered, How could we do that? The madam and the old lady specifically instructed me not to allow any mishaps. There was no shortage of envy in the makeup artist's eyes. She had heard that Miss Li was just an orphan. Who would have thought that an orphan would have such good luck to marry into the Mo family? From now on, she would truly be a lady of a rich family. A life completely different from an ordinary person's. Li Xianxian enjoyed the envy in the makeup artist's eyes, and without saying much more, allowed the makeup artist to follow her into the fitting room. Just as she changed into her wedding gown, a servant entered from the outside. Miss Li, there is someone looking for you. Chapter 478. Big slap in the face on sight. _1. Who is looking for me? Li Xianxian asked. Miss Zhang. The housekeeper replied. Miss Zhang? Li Xianxian squinted her eyes. Is it Zhang Xianjing? Yes. The housekeeper nodded. Li Xiangxian's mouth curled into a smile as she sorted her dress. Let her in. All right. In a moment, the servant brought Zhang Xianjing in. Zhang Xianjing had her hair styled in the most popular manner of the time, framed by well-drawn eyebrows, painted red lips, a heavy layer of foundation making her face white as chalk. She wore a bright red formal dress, red high heels to match, looking more the bride than the bride herself. Just by her outfit, it was clear that she had come prepared. But Li Xianxian was not afraid anymore. Inside her belly was the legitimate heir of the Mo family. Even old Lady Mo had to treat her with care and laughter now. So what could a Zhang Xianjing count for? Li Xianxian greeted her with a warm smile. Sister Xianjing. Xianxian. Zhang Xianjing laughed as she grasped Li Xiangxian's hand. Anyone who didn't know them might have thought these two were the best of friends. Xianxian, congratulations on finally marrying Brother Baichuan. I wish you a long and happy marriage until you both are old. Li Xianxian squinted her eyes. Thank you. I also wish that Sister Xianjing will soon find her perfect husband. Don't worry, Xianxian. I will definitely marry the man I want to marry. Zhang Xianjing said provocatively. Li Xianxian laughed and retorted. Isn't it too early for you to say that, Sister Xianjing? Do you believe that a person's luck can change from full to emptiness? Marry the man she wanted? Did Zhang Xianjing hope to marry Mo Baichuan and become the second wife? She was so blatant about being a mistress. Shameless. Zhang Xianjing locked eyes with Li Xianxian, excitedly declaring, the game isn't ended yet. It's not certain who will be the ultimate winner. A mocking look flashed in Li Xiangxian's eyes. In life, you should learn to cut losses at the right time. Don't wait until you hit a wall to realize that it's time to turn back. Even if you scheme your heart out, in the end it's all in vain. Why keep trying? Without hitting that wall, how will I know it's not about to fall? Responded Zhang Xianjing, grinning. Xianxian, am I right? She would certainly win this battle. As for Li Xianxian, she was destined to be a stepping stone. Li Xianxian didn't take Zhang Xianjing seriously, replied with a smile, then I wish for Sister Xianjing's complete victory. Zhang Xianjing's face was filled with undisguised triumph. Li Xianxian continued, Xiaowang, bring a chair. I want to sit and chat with Sister Xianjing. After speaking, Li Xianxian turned her head to look at Zhang Xianjing and said apologetically, Ever since I got pregnant, I've been very weak, I always feel tired. Xianjing, you wouldn't mind me sitting down to talk, would you? Zhang Xianjing forced a smile. Of course not. How could I mind? The chair was right next to them. She could just sit down if she wanted to. But Li Xianxian had to make a show out of it, solely to flex her power over Zhang Xianjing. She was reminding Zhang Xianjing that she was carrying Mo Baichuan's child. Anything Zhang Xianjing did would be in vain. Mockery flashed across Zhang Xianjing's eyes. Just wait. The more triumphant Li Xianxian was now, the more desperate she would be later. Today was Mo Baichuan's wedding day, so a drama was about to be staged. And Ai Yang, as the aunt, had to be present, of course. At 10:30 a.m., Mo Qixin came to pick up Ai Yang on his bicycle. The moment Ai Yang opened the door, she saw Mo Qixin leaning against his bicycle smoking, emanating a strong and slender silhouette. Mo Qixin had outstanding features. A handsome face, refined and deep-set knife-like cheekbones, each angle perfect. He was destined to be a ruler. Seeing Ai Yang approaching, Mo Qixin instantly extinguished the unfinished cigarette between his fingers. Yang. Ai Yang walked over and sat on the crossbar of the bicycle. Brother Mo, let's go. Mo Qixin's nose brushed gently over her hair. All right. With the beauty in his arms, Mo Qixin rode the bike slowly. Mo family home. The wedding was scheduled for 12:18 p.m. By 10 o'clock, all the guests had arrived. Today was Mo Baichuan's wedding, so naturally, the task of entertaining guests fell to Mo Rongping and Xiao Jiao. As for the old master and old lady Mo, all they had to do was enjoy the festivities and chat. Chapter 479. Big slap in the face on site. _2. Now that Baichuan has gotten married, who knows when we'll be able to celebrate your sixth child's wedding? The speaker was the Wang family's old lady, who generally didn't see eye to eye with the Mo family's old lady. Everyone knew that Mo Qixin had just been dumped by Zhao Jingrong. The Wang family's old lattice comment was obviously intended as scoffing. But the Mo family's old lady didn't seem to mind. Our sixth son's girlfriend is still young, and there's no hurry, she responded. Your sixth son has a girlfriend? The Wang family's old lady was taken aback. Not only was she surprised, but all the nearby observers were taken aback as well. Could a loser like Mo Qixin really find a girlfriend? What a sight to behold. The Mo family's old lady nodded. The young lady is only 18 years old this year, a whole 10 years younger than our sixth son. Mo Qixin was well over the hill, and to have found an 18-year-old girlfriend was definitely something for the Mo family's old lady to boast about. The Wang family's old lady continued. If your sixth son already has a girlfriend, then she must be here for such an important day. Erwin, why are you hiding this? You've got such a wonderful daughter-in-law, why not introduce her to us? Are you worried we might steal your family's prestige? On hearing this, the others around them nodded in agreement, their eyes gleaming with anticipation of the unfolding drama. Yes, watching the drama. What type of girlfriend could a loser like Mo Qixin find? Probably some low-class girl not fit for the social scene. So, everyone was eager for the Mo family's old lady to make a fool of herself. The Mo family had held their ground in Beijing for years, and people were grateful they still had their hopeless son to joke about. Otherwise, the Mo family might completely monopolize Beijing. While some appeared friendly with the Mo family on the surface, they secretly wished for their downfall. The Mo family's old lady responded with a smile. Our sixth son has gone to pick up the young lady. Don't be impatient, everyone. Erwin, it's almost 11 o'clock. They're not bailing, are they? Scoffed the Wang family's old lady, implying that it'd be shameful to showcase the undeserving girlfriend. Someone else chimed in. Perhaps they're too intimidated by the crowd to show up? It's only natural for the young lady to be shy. Do you think we can compare just anyone to Jingrong? The mention of Zhao Jingrong brought a moment of silence. After all, she was Mo Qixin's ex-fiancée. Bringing her up in this setting was clearly an attempt to stir up trouble. Auntie, since you're so pleased with your sixth son's girlfriend, She must be even more beautiful than Sister Jingrong, right? The speaker was Zhao Jingrong's good friend, Sun Yulan. Zhao Jingrong's beauty was widely recognized amongst their circle. It would be difficult to find another woman more beautiful than her. Sun Yulan's words were clearly meant to embarrass the Mo family's old lady. The Mo family's old lady smiled at Sun Yulan. Beauty is only skin deep. Some people may have pretty faces, but they are dishonest and do despicable things. What use is their beauty? Her words were a veiled insult to Sun Yulan and indirectly, Zhao Jingrong. Sun Yulan was taken aback, but she retorted. While that saying holds some truth, how many of us genuinely disregard appearance? Isn't it a consolation for those who can't have it? Her words were mocking the Mo family's old lady for bemoaning the loss of what she could not have. What kind of girlfriend could that loser Mo Chishan possibly get? Perhaps she's just some ugly, dull woman. If she were genuinely beautiful, the Mo family's old lady would not have been harping on about beauty only being skin deep. Someone nearby joined in the conversation. Finding a suitable wife these days is no easy task. It's quite remarkable that your sixth son managed to find one. You shouldn't mind whether she's beautiful or not. Mrs. Liu is right. It doesn't matter if she's a bit ugly, as long as she can continue the family lineage. Everyone was chiming in with their mockery towards the Mo family's old lady. But the Mo family's old lattice demeanor didn't falter. Erwin, why haven't your sixth son and his girlfriend arrived yet? Could it be like they said, she was scared off and is too fearful to show up? Just then, two figures approached from outside the door. The Mo family's old lattice eyes lit up, gesturing to them. Yang. 6. Mo Chishan was leading Yang towards them. Mom. Chapter 480. Big slap in the face on sight. _3. Yang greeted following Hua. Aunt Mo. Yang, you guys are here at last, Mo said. Mo Chishan said. We were held up on the way. Yang's ears turned red for an instant, and she discreetly pinched Mo Chishan's waist. Mo Chishan maintained a calm expression, acting as if nothing happened. The elderly Madame Mo did not notice the exchange between them. She took Yang's hand and introduced. Yang, let me introduce you. This is Aunt Wang, Aunt Wu, Aunt Zhao, and this is Sun Yulan from Aunt Qian's family. After finishing her introduction, Madame Mo turned to everyone and said, This is Yang, my sixth grandson's girlfriend. Yang was dressed in a light blue cheongsam. Her black, shiny hair was braided into a beautiful fishtail, adorned with pearls. Draped over her shoulder, she did not wear any makeup, but her beauty took everyone's breath away. Thank the heavens for the gorgeous woman who lives in the valley. The appearance of Yang made everyone feel uncomfortable. After all, just a few minutes before, they had mocked Mo Chishan's girlfriend in front of Madame Mo, calling her ugly. Unexpectedly, Mo Chishan had brought such a stunning beauty back home. Yang politely greeted everyone. She conducted herself with elegance, overshadowing Sun Yulan, a fellow member of the elite. As another woman, it was inevitable to feel a touch of envy. Sun Yulan had never expected that Mo Chishan's girlfriend was not only prettier than her, but even more beautiful than Zhao Jingrong. She had originally intended to slap Madame Mo for disrespecting Zhao Jingrong. Unexpectedly, the tables have turned, and she was the one who got slapped by Madame Mo. This scene was witnessed by Zhang Xianjing. Zhang Xianjing gestured Sun Yulan to come over. Sun Yulan quietly walked towards her. Xianjing. Yulan, come over here. Sun Yulan moved closer to listen. Within Zhang Xianjing's eyes, a calculating glint flashed as she whispered something quietly. What a splendid day. Not only did she get a chance to expose Li Xiangxian's true identity in public, but she could also embarrass Yang to the last. Hearing this, Sun Yulan's eyes reflected a sense of smugness, and she said, Thank you, Xianjing. Zhang Xianjing replied with a smile, My pleasure. It'll go over now, said Sun Yulan. Zhang Xianjing nodded. Sun Yulan returned to Yang's side and continued the conversation. Yang, I heard you're just a junior high school student, right? Yang didn't avoid the question and nodded directly. A junior high school student? Upon hearing this, everyone's expressions varied significantly. In this wealthy family, the lowest educational level among girls was a college degree, with many holding master's or doctoral degrees, and many had studied abroad. However, there were none who had only graduated from junior high school, except for In Yang. What's the use of being pretty? She's like a gorgeous but empty vase. Sun Yulan regained some of her confidence and said, Yang girls should continue their study. I graduated from the number 1 middle school, and since I was admitted to a university, I have some reputation there. Do you need my help to introduce you to the principal so that you can study again at number 1 middle school? Thank you, but I don't need it. In Yang responded lightly, I am already an inserted student in the 3rd grade of number 3 middle school. People waiting for a laugh were stunned. What? In Yang already entered number 3 middle school? Was it arranged by the Mo family? However, the threshold for admission to number 3 is high, with students usually entering based on their actual grades. If the Mo family wanted to make arrangements, they could probably only manage for admission to number 1 middle school. Sun Yulan's face stiffened. She hadn't expected such a turn of events. Perhaps In Yang was just boasting. Number 3 middle school was not a place where one could enter just like that. Sun Yulan continued, Which class are you in? I am in class 5. Class 5? What a coincidence. She could immediately expose In Yang's lie. Chu Yunyan, the daughter of Uncle Chu, is also in class 5 of number 3. Do you know her? In Yang went to class 5 only twice apart from the exams. How could she know all the students of class 5? In Yang said, I've just transferred there, so I'm not quite familiar with my classmates in class 5 yet. Really? Sun Yulan's smile seemed a bit strange. It's natural that you don't remember all your classmates, but Yunyan would definitely remember you. In Sun Yulan's opinion, In Yang was clearly panicking. It was because she was anxious that she claimed not to know Chu Yunyan. Chapter 481. Big slap in the face on sight. _4. Oh, go get Yunyan. On the side, one of the girls could hardly wait to see In Yang make a fool of herself. Exposing In Yang's lies in front of everyone would certainly make her extremely embarrassed. Chu Yunyan was quickly called over. As she walked in their direction, there was no joy in her eyes upon seeing her classmates. The triumphant look on Sun Yulan's face became more apparent. She knew very well that Chu Yunyan would definitely not know In Yang. The others also wore disdainful expressions while watching In Yang. Why learn bad habits at such a tender age? Having to resort to lying. She's too vain. While she's not a student at city number 3 middle school, she boasts about having passed their transfer student exam. Just then Chu Yunyan, who had a plain expression at first, suddenly lit up and quickly walked over to In Yang, exclaiming in surprise, In Yang, it really is you. I thought I had seen wrong just now. Chu Yunyan has severe myopia, so she didn't notice In Yang at the beginning, hence her indifference. In Yang smiled and nodded. Now Sun Yulan's face hung in the balance. Yunyan, do you know Yang? Chu Yunyan said. In Yang is a well-known figure in our school. She ranks first in the transfer student exam. Not just me, nobody in the school would not know who In Yang is. After all, In Yang was ranked first, and she was beautiful. It was too hard for everyone to forget about her. Ranked first. Sun Yulan's face changed. She had no idea that In Yang would be so excellent. Now, instead of being the one to humiliate, she herself got humiliated. The faces of other people around were also not looking good. They originally wanted to witness a joke, but they were repeatedly left red-faced. At this moment, an elderly woman with white hair recognized In Yang. Young lady, weren't you the girl who gifted the longevity picture at the last birthday feast? The longevity picture that In Yang had presented last time had left a deep impression on everyone. Afterwards, some people who were uninformed even offered a handsome amount to buy the longevity picture, but they were refused by Mrs. Mo. Old Lady Mo chimed in. Yes, the one who presented the longevity picture was Yang. Don't underestimate her age, she knows a lot. Xiaodai's illness was also cured by her. Old Lady Mo took the opportunity to extol In Yang. Aren't good daughters-in-law meant to be boasted about? In Yang ran into Li Xianxian on her way to the bathroom. To be precise, Li Xianxian had purposely sought her out. In Yang, Li Xianxian looked at Yang, a triumphant smile on her face. What's the matter? Yang raised her eyes slightly. Yang, Li Xianxian proudly stuck out her tummy, impregnant. Yang's tone was neutral. I know. It's Mo Baichuan's child. Li Xianxian said, looking extremely pleased with herself. Yes. Li Xianxian was here to claim her sovereignty. From start to finish, she had never considered Zhang Xianjing as a threat. Her real enemy was Yang. After all, there was the precedent from the previous life. That's why she could not let her guard down. She couldn't let anyone snatch Mo Baichuan from her. What is it that you want to say? Yang arched her eyebrows slightly. I already know all that. Also, let me tell you a secret, Li Xianxian continued. Do you know who Mo Baichuan really is? Yang remained silent. Li Xianxian, feeling elated, said, he is Mr. Mog. And in the future, it'll be Mrs. Mog. Mrs. Mog. That was an enviable title to everyone. How does that concern me? Yang was not concerned about who Mog was. In other words, it did not matter who Mr. Mog was. It had absolutely nothing to do with her. Li Xianxian curved up the corners of her mouth. Yang, stop pretending. I know you are feeling miserable. But it's pointless for you to feel bad now. As long as I'm by Baichuan's side, you'll never stand a chance to snatch him away. The winner of this life is her. Yang was destined to be nothing more than a stepping stone. Yang also didn't get angry. Instead, she looked at her calmly with a smile. Seeing Yang's calm demeanor, Li Xianxian suddenly felt panic rising in her heart. She refused to believe that Yang would easily give up on Mo Baichuan. Now that she is married to Mo Baichuan, and in the future, only she will get to stay by Mo Kishan's side. Keeping Yang around would always pose a threat. It seems she needs to find a way to get rid of Yang. Li Xianxian squinted her eyes. Soon it was 12 o'clock, and the wedding would start in just 18 minutes. The wedding was set to take place in the Mo family's back garden. By this time, everyone was heading towards the back garden. Yang and Mo Qishan were not in a hurry, following behind the crowd leisurely. Chapter 482. Big slap in the face on sight. _5. Yang. Just then, someone slapped Yang's shoulder. Yan. Yang glanced back slightly, laughing. Yan, when did you get here? I had something up this morning, so I just got here. Feeling emptiness in his hand, Mo Qishan threw an unhappy glance at Li Yanran. Li Yanran was joking around with Yang, when she suddenly felt a chill and looked back, murmuring, strange, why do I feel like someone's watching me from behind? It's rather chilly. Yang laughed. Who's looking at you? Your secret admirer? Mo Qishan. It's the person who wants to slap her to death. Bro. Xiao came over from the other side. What's wrong with you, bro? Why the long face? It's your nephew's big day today, you should be happy. Mo Qishan squinted. You go and get her out of here. Ooh. Xiao asked curiously. Li Yan. Mo Qishan uttered coldly. Why send her away? Xiao asked in confusion. Isn't she happily chatting with Yang over there? You go your own way, she goes hers. She's not in your way. Why are you making things difficult for the girl? Have you been in love before? Mo Qishan looked at Xiao, answering out of context. No. Xiao shook his head. Do you want to get a girlfriend? Mo Qishan asked again. Yes. Xiao said excitedly. Bro, why don't you teach me how to find a girlfriend? My requirements aren't high. Any girl will do. He has been unable to find one. Mo Qishan sighed. You better prepare to be a bachelor for the rest of your life. Why? Xiao was heartbroken. Mo Qishan said, because you don't have what it takes to be in a relationship. The wedding auditorium was divided into two sides by a long aisle covered in red carpet. As soon as Yang sat down, Mo Baichuan, standing on the stage rehearsing lines with the MC, saw him. Yang came after all. Mo Baichuan thought Yang wouldn't show up. He squinted, a touch of wariness flickering in his eyes. He absolutely couldn't let Yang ruin their wedding. Seeing Yang finally settled down, Mo Qishan quickly sat down next to him. Yang was chatting with Li Yanran, while Mo Chishan was lowering his gaze, counting her fingers one by one, playing with them in his hand. Her slender fingers, with no color on the nails, were lovely with their faint pink whiteness. They were as delicate as rows of small seashells. 12:18. The wedding ceremony officially began. With the MC's introduction, Mo Baichuan and Li Xianxian, dressed in a Western-style wedding dress, slowly emerged from backstage. The flower children were scattering petals ahead. A round of applause erupted from below the stage. Upon seeing Yang made no move from below the stage, Mo Baichuan heaved a sigh of relief. At the same time, there was a twinge of disappointment in his heart. He couldn't explain why. He clearly didn't look forward to Yang disrupting the wedding. Yet when Yang made no move, he grew anxious. Was Yang planning something big? That's why he hadn't made another move yet? After the MC's introduction and interaction, the next part was the priest's vow. Yang glanced at Zhang Xianjing nonchalantly. Zhang Xianjing was staring intently at the stage, her face focused as if deep in thought. Yang picked up a cup of tea and took a gentle sip. Just then the priest's voice came through the air. Mr. Mo Baichuan, in poverty, illness, difficulty, pain, wealth, health, joy, happiness, do you vow to not abandon Miss Li Xianxian and to love and cherish her lifelong? Before Mo Baichuan could answer, a clear female voice sounded from below the stage. Wait. The smile on Li Xianxian's face instantly froze at the corners of her mouth, and she glanced down at the stage. She had been worried about Yang causing trouble at the wedding. She had never expected that the person causing trouble was Zhang Xianjing. What was Zhang Xianjing trying to do? A sense of dread suddenly surged in Li Xianxian's heart. Ma'am, do you have a question? The priest looked at Zhang Xianjing. Zhang Xianjing smiled. I just wanted to give the bride a personal wedding gift before the vows. Saying this, Zhang Xianjing walked towards the stage. Dressed in a bright red gown, she was quite ostentatious, stealing the limelight from the bride. What was supposed to be just a regular wedding, no one expected, would churn out such a scene. Chapter 483. Big slap in the face on site. _6. No one knew what Zhang Xianjing was up to. Old Mrs. Zheng looked at Zheng Lingling with a pale face. Lingling, what does Xianjing want to do? Zheng Lingling said, Mom, don't worry, Xianjing is a sensible girl, she won't do anything outrageous. Old Mrs. Zheng continued, Are you mother and daughter hiding something from me? No, Mom, Zheng Lingling responded with a smile. Mom, you are overthinking. Old Mrs. Zheng frowned. What is Xianjing doing on the stage? She doesn't know how many eyes are watching her from under the stage. Her every word and move represents the Zheng family. Any slight misstep would give people a handle against us. Zheng Lingling said. Baichuan and Xianjing have grown up together. Now that Baichuan is getting married, it's only right that Xianjing prepares a small gift. Is it really just giving a gift? Old Mrs. Zheng continued. Zheng Lingling smiled and said, Mom, you'll see. Old Mrs. Zheng was very worried, fearing that Zhang Xianjing would do something outrageous. Yang sat in the audience, eating the sunflower seeds peeled by Mo Chishan, while watching the stage. Yang, what do you think Zhang Xianjing wants to do? Li Yanran scooted closer with curiosity on her face. Do you think Zhang Xianjing is trying to elope? Yang responded calmly. Didn't Zhang Xianjing say she has a big gift? Big gift. Li Yanran said. Looks more like Zhang Xianjing wants to make a scene at the wedding. Who would dress more flashy than the bride on her wedding day? There was clearly malicious intent. The audience was getting excited. The priest, prompted by Li Xianxian's hinted glance, turned to Zhang Xianjing. Miss Zheng, could you deliver your gift privately so as not to postpone the auspicious time? Zhang Xianjing replied. I won't be long. Look, the gift is coming. A child around 5 or 6 was slowly approaching from the end of the red carpet. Upon seeing Li Xianxian, his steps suddenly quickened. Mom! He ran over and hugged Li Xianxian. The color on Li Xianxian's face changed drastically in a moment, but quickly reverted back to normal. Stay calm, she can't panic, that little bastard is long dead. There must be some misunderstanding here. The audience exchanged glances, seeing confusion in each other's eyes. Li Xianxian bent low and tenderly looking at Fua. Little friend. You must have mistaken me for someone else. I didn't mistake you for someone else. You are my mom. Fua's eyes reddened all of a sudden. Mom, don't you want Fua anymore? Fua? Zhou Fua? It was as if Li Xianxian had been doused with a bucket of icy water from head to toe, chilling her to the bone. How is this little bastard still alive? As a reborn individual, Li Xianxian never left any risks for herself. In her memory of the future, Zhou Tianba's legs were broken due to a theft, and due to not receiving prompt medical treatment, he eventually died from an infected wound. And Zhou Fua disappeared without a trace after Zhou Tianba's death. According to her memories from the future, Zhou Tianbao and Zhou Fua had been in trouble for over a month. So why was Zhou Fua still perilously standing here? This must be Zhang Xianjing trying to scare her with a decoy. Li Xianxian put in great effort to maintain her smile, saying softly, "Little friend, you really have me mistaken for someone else." Zhang Xianjing looked at Li Xianxian with a mocking expression in her eyes. Li Xianxian. Oh no, comrade Sun Dalian. Don't you recognize your own son whom you carried for 10 months? Chapter 484, Green Hat. _1. Sun Dalian. Upon hearing these 3 words, Li Xianxian's face turned white. Zhang Xianjing knew. Zhang Xianjing knew about the secret she had tried desperately to hide. What now? Li Xianxian had never dreamt that Zhang Xianjing would know about this. The audience below the stage were all shocked. The bride actually had a son. His real name was Sun Dalian. In other words, Mo Baichuan actually married a woman who was already used. This was too explosive. Li Xianxian tried hard to calm herself down. She turned to look at Zhang Xianjing and frowned. Sister Xianjing, I know you've always liked Baichuan, and you even tried to harm me with drugs because of this. Now you're here spouting nonsense. The guests present here are not fools. Do you think they will believe you? At this moment, Li Xianxian had to hold her ground. She couldn't let Zhang Xianjing get her way. No one could ruin her wedding. Zhang Xianjing only brought Zhou Fua, which meant that Zhou Tianbao was already dead. Zhou Tianbao was dead, so what could a young child possibly do? With this thought, Li Xianxian felt a bit more relieved. Upon hearing her words, the anger on Mo Baichuan's face gradually dissipated. Yes, he had misunderstood Li Xianxian once. At a time like this, he couldn't let Li Xianxian be wronged again. Zhang Xianjing, like in Aiyang, was determined to marry him and so had tried every means to undermine Li Xianxian. Xianjing, stop causing trouble. Mo Baichuan looked at Zhang Xianjing, his eyes full of warning. Zhang Xianjing said, Brother Baichuan, I'm not causing trouble. I'm very clear about what I'm doing. It wasn't me who framed Li Xianxian last time. It was her setting me up. Li Xianxian is not a good woman at all. She abandoned her husband and her child. She doesn't deserve you. Last time, if it wasn't for Li Xianxian deliberately misleading her, she wouldn't have fallen into Li Xianxian's trap. This time, she would not let this mean woman continue to get her way. Li Xianxian looked at Mo Baichuan with a wronged expression, like someone trying to find a reason to frame her. The occurrence of this incident at the wedding made the faces of the elder Mr. and Mrs. Mo quite embarrassed. The faces of Mo Rongping and Xiao Jiao turned even uglier. Zhang Xianjing had really crossed the line this time. Could she just make such accusations about abandoning husband and children? From their understanding of Li Xianxian over this period, she was not such a person. She was gentle, kind, understanding, respectful to elders, and an extraordinary daughter-in-law. Xiao Jiao had no daughters of her own, and through the time they had spent together, she had come to regard Li Xianxian as her own daughter, and she absolutely did not believe that Li Xianxian would do such a thing. Zhang Xianjing insulting Li Xianxian like this, wasn't it like slapping the Mo family in the face? Auntie Zhang, is Xianjing not feeling well lately? Does she know what she's doing? Xiao Jiao walked over to Mrs. Zhang and asked calmly while suppressing her anger. Madame Zhang was so angry that her face turned white. She started to cough violently and turned to Zheng Lingling. You go call Xianjing back. Tell her to stop causing trouble. Zheng Lingling responded, Mom, don't be angry for now. Sister-in-law, just be a little more patient. You've watched Xianjing grow up since she was little. Do you think she's the type of person to talk nonsense? Xiao Jiao asserted angrily. I believe Xianxian is not that kind of person. Sister-in-law, there's no smoke without fire. One should judge a person on more than just their appearance. Zhang Lingling continued, the innocent reveals itself. If Li Xianxian is truly innocent, then no matter what, we can't wrongly accuse her. Xiao Jiao warned, Lingling, our two families are old friends, but let me speak bluntly today. When it turns out that it's Xianjing making something out of nothing, you must apologize to Xianxian and clear her name. At this stage, only if the Zheng family personally stepped in to apologize to Li Xianxian could the situation be salvaged. Zheng Lingling nodded, sister-in-law, rest assured. If it does turn out to be that Xianjing tried to frame someone for no reason, we will personally apologize to Li Xianxian and ask her forgiveness. Xiao Jiao snorted coldly. On the wedding stage, Fua tugged at Li Xianxian's skirt, begging, Mom, please don't abandon me and Dad. The episode stirred up such a fuss that the guests started to discuss amongst themselves. Mo Baichuan's gaze involuntarily moved towards Nai Yang. Amid the unexpected turn of events at the wedding, the happiest person should be Nai Yang, right? Chapter 485, Green Hat. _2. I wonder if Nai Yang and Zheng Xianjing together designed this stunt. After all, they're birds of a feather. Mo Baichuan narrowed his eyes. Little fellow. Li Xianxian looked at Fua gently. You've mistaken me for someone else. I'm really not your mother. Amidst his crying, Fua insisted. You are my mother. You really are my mother. Li Xianxian left when Zhou Fua was barely a year old, an infant. What could an infant remember? These words were surely Zheng Xianjing's doing. Reunited with her biological son after 6 years, Li Xianxian felt not the expected emotional stirrings, but endless regret. She regretted leaving too hurriedly and not ending the little monster's life. If only she had killed him, there would be no troubles like these today. From above, Zheng Xianjing watched Li Xianxian, an expression full of mockery on her face. Li Xianxian, you heartless witch. You're so desperate to marry into a wealthy family, you won't even acknowledge your own child. Zheng Xianjing. Li Xianxian shot up, her eyes locked onto Xianjing. Today is my wedding day. That's why I've been tolerating you. But be warned, I may behave like a pushover, but am not. Push me one more time and you'll see my wrath. If she continued bearing everything in silence, Xianjing might mistake her for a sick cat. With a small laugh, Xianjing continued, Li Xianxian, stop pretending. Your real name is Sun Dalian, currently 21 years old. At 16, you had a son, Zhou Fua, with Zhou Tianbao from your village. At 17, you abandoned Zhou Tianbao and Fua, and came to Beijing alone, changing your name to Li Xianxian. She paused. Furthermore, as far as I know, you're not an orphan. Your mother's name is Li Shu, and your father's son Sherwu, who just recently was imprisoned for murder. The only reason you've concealed your identity and name is because you're scared people would uncover your past of deserting your husband and child, and having a murderer for a father. A wave of blood seemed to surge painfully through Li Xianxian's body. She had come prepared, but never anticipated Xianjing would know so much about her past. How did Zheng Xianjing know all this? Why was Zheng Xianjing out to ruin her? With a small smile, Zheng Xianjing asked, Sun Dalian, do you still claim that I'm making all this up? There were murmurs of astonishment from the crowd. No one had expected Li Xianxian to have such a past. Even the elder Mo's were deeply shocked. Xiao Jiao's face twitched. Gauging by Xianjing's sure tone, could it be true? You are making it all up. You just love Baichuan. The sole purpose of your actions is jealousy, because I am marrying Baichuan. Li Xianxian, tears streaming down her face, defended. I know I'm not matched for you, being from a rich family. But I am now carrying Baichuan's child. A child needs a father. Sister Xianjing, I beg you to stop pushing me. Can you let me and my child live? With her final words, Li Xianxian fell to her knees. Many guests had been invited to the wedding, but only a few close to the Mo family knew that Li Xianxian was pregnant. Her words held two meanings. She made herself the victim, and revealed her pregnancy to everyone present. Since she was pregnant, no matter what happened, the Mo family should not ignore her. Her words instantly swayed the pendulum in her favor. People are inclined to sympathize with the weak. Witnessing Li Xianxian kneeling down, the crowd instinctively sided with her. Li Xianxian is so pitiful. She has been forced into this state by Zhang Xianjing. Zhang Xianjing is shameless. Mo Baichuan is already getting married, but she still can't let him go. Suddenly the scapegoat of public criticism, Zhang Xianjing steadied herself, then responded. Sun Dalian, there's undeniable evidence of your relationship with Fua. He's your son and you can't abandon him. Also your father in prison, Sun Shiwu, I believe he would recognize his own daughter. Oh, and there's also your previous man, Zhou Tianbao. Zhou Tianbao? Is Zhou Tianbao not dead? Who's Zhou Tianbao? I don't know her. Li Xianxian strongly denied, still kneeling on the ground. Chapter 486, Green Hat. _3. Sun Dalian. I could forgive you for being unfaithful. But now you even deny our own son Fua. Have you no heart left? An angry voice suddenly erupts from the crowd. Everyone turns towards the source of the voice and sees the frail figure of Zhou Tianbao. Daddy. Upon seeing Zhou Tianbao, Fua breaks into a smile through his tears and joyfully runs towards him. Daddy, I found Mommy. But Mommy doesn't want me anymore. His words trail off into sadness. Is it because Fua's not good enough? That's why Mommy doesn't want Fua anymore. Zhou Tianbao picks up Fua and slowly approaches Li Xianxian. From the crowd, Li Yanran excitedly exclaims, I knew that Li Xianxian wasn't any good. I didn't expect that she even has a son. And that she abandoned both her husband and her son. TSK, she is truly shameless. Anai Yang remains silent, his expression indifferent, as if he stands apart from the crowd. Mo Qishan, standing next to him, is even more composed. Yang, do you want some sunflower seeds? No. Anai Yang shakes his head. Well, how about some grapes? You must be thirsty from eating sunflower seeds for so long. As he speaks, Mo Qishan begins to peel grapes for Anai Yang, and even brings a grape up to his lips. Bro, Xiao nudges Mo Qishan's shoulder. With all this happening to the Mo family, aren't you worried at all? At this point of crisis, Mo Qishan is surprisingly still in the mood to peel grapes. If Xiao hadn't known Mo Qishan since elementary school, he would be convinced that Mo Qishan's family name was Anai, not Mo. Mo Qishan replies indifferently. What good would it do if I were to worry? Instead of that, I might as well do something worthwhile. With that, he turns back to peeling grapes for Anai Yang. Xiao. So, doing something worthwhile means peeling grapes for Anai Yang? It's obvious that Mo Qishan will be henpecked if he ever gets married. From the corner of her eye, she watches Zhou Tianbao slowly approaching her. Cold sweat breaks out along Li Xianxian's spine. Why didn't Zhou Tianbao die? Why is Zhou Tianbao still alive? The sight of Zhou Tianbao brings back unbearable memories for Li Xianxian. What can she do now? No. Everything she had worked so hard to achieve. She couldn't let someone else take it all away. She can't lose. I don't know you. Li Xianxian stares at Zhou Tianbao and his son. You are actors hired by Zhang Xianjing. I have no quarrel with you. Why are you doing this to me? Baichuan, get them out of here. Li Xianxian struggles to her feet, and like a drowning person clutching at straws, she grabs Mo Baichuan's arm. Zhou Tianbao looks at Mo Baichuan. So you're the woman who stole my wife? You and her deserve each other. Your evil deeds will come back to haunt you. Zhou Tianbao is dark and thin with a stooped back. He looks at least 40 or 50 years old. How could Li Xianxian possibly be attracted to him? Mo Baichuan frowns and barks angrily. Where is security? Get this madman out of here. In this age, security is a burgeoning industry. In common parlance, they are referred to as door guards, but among the elite circles, the term security is starting to catch on. Hearing this, 5 or 6 security guards immediately approach from the crowd. Zhou Tianbao puts down Zhou Fua and grabs Li Xianxian's arm. If I have to leave, I'll take my wife with me. Mommy. Zhou Fua bursts into tears and clings to Li Xianxian's leg. I want Mommy. They are kidnapping. The Mo family is kidnapping people. Is there no justice left in this world? Calls of protest and cries of alarm mix into a confusing cacophony. Li Xianxian is panicking. She is truly panicking now. Her wedding dress is ruined. Her makeup smears. Her meticulously planned event is ruined. Does she really have to give up? All of you stop. The elderly Mrs. Mo strides onto the stage, sharply rapping her cane on the floor. With the situation spiraling out of control, Madame Mo has no choice but to take control. The formidable command of a woman who had been through battles in her youth resonates through the room. As soon as she speaks, a hushed silence falls over the crowd. Madam, I can tell you are a person who can resolve things. Please, you must help us, father and son. Zhou Tianbao breaks into sobs as he approaches Madame Mo. Madam, please give me back my mother. Fua steps forward and tugs at the edge of Mrs. Mo's dress. Chapter 487, Green Hat. _4. Fua, skinny and small, showed tear streaks on his face to the point that it was heartbreaking for Mo family's old lady to watch, especially if what he was saying was all true. Then Li Xianxian was absolutely inhuman. Grandma, I truly don't know these people. Li Xianxian kneeled down and seized the old lattice wrist. Be quiet. The old lady turned her gaze towards Zhou Tianbao and his son, Fua, continuing. You say Li Xianxian is your wife. Do you have any proof? Did you get a marriage certificate? Zhou Tianbao started to calm down. Sun Dalian started living with me when she was 16. We didn't have a marriage certificate back then, but I have this. Having said this, he took out a photograph from his pocket and handed it to the old lady. Although the photo was in black and white, it did not affect its clarity. The people clearly visible in the picture were Li Xianxian and Zhou Tianbao. This picture was taken in the photography studio in town on the day when Li Xianxian and Zhou Tianbao were together. If Li Xianxian had known this day would come, she would never have agreed to take this picture. Even now, she never quite understood. Why on earth would she have chosen someone like Zhou Tianbao? Why couldn't she have been reborn earlier? If she had been, she absolutely would not have set eyes on Zhou Tianbao. The moment he saw the photograph, Mo Baichuan's face abruptly changed. Every other piece of evidence could be faked. But the photo could not be. In this era, Photoshop technology has not yet been invented. The others in the audience stretched their necks, straining to get a view of the photograph and whispering amongst themselves. This person is not me. Grandma, this person is not me. Li Xianxian shook her head, her face pale, and pulled at Mo Baichuan's sleeve. Baichuan, believe me. Baichuan. The old lady maintained her composure, continuing. What can a single photograph prove? Li Xianxian currently had the Mo family's legitimate great-grandson in her belly, so the old lady knew she had to tread carefully. Zhou Tianbao said, I know another secret. The old lady said, what secret? Zhou Tianbao cast a glance at Li Xianxian. Sun Dalian has a red birthmark on the left side of her chest. The chest was a private area. Li Xianxian kept denying knowing Zhou Tianbao, so how did he know about this? Mo Baichuan's face darkened, looking incredibly ugly upon realizing he had been duped by Li Xianxian, who fooled him with her virginity claims when he was drunk. A woman who intended to marry into the Mo family while being married and having a child. How deluded could she be? She had utterly humiliated him in front of so many people. As the old lady watched Mo Baichuan's face growing steadily more serious, she became certain that Zhou Tianbao was not lying. Zhou Tianbao went on. If you don't believe me, we can do a blood test. Modern medicine is so advanced, we can also do a DNA test. Sun Dalian truly is my wife, my son's mother. It took so much for our poor family to get a daughter-in-law. I'm begging you, please give her back to me. The old lattice face was grave. She had never dreamed that Li Xianxian would turn out to be such a fickle, ruthless, scheming woman. She still remembered the first time she saw Li Xianxian at the entrance to the normal university. At that time, Li Xianxian had happened to come by and fed her a piece of candy to aid her during a fainting spell brought on by low blood sugar. Li Xianxian claimed she was an orphan with no parents since childhood, which made the old lady feel some pity for her. Gradually, she grew to like the sensible good girl, and even had her go to the base to help Mo Baichuan set them up together. Thinking about it now, she realized it was likely that Li Xianxian had been calculating and using her from the very beginning. Such people were really terrifying. The old lady furrowed her brows. Li Xianxian, now in tears again, grabbed Mo Baichuan's hand. All lies, everything he said is lies. Baichuan, I am carrying your child. You can't abandon me. Zheng Xianjing stepped up to Mo Baichuan, waved off Li Xiangxian's hand and said, Brother Baichuan, don't let her trick you. This kind of fickle woman, whose child she's carrying in her belly, who knows? Li Xianxian was swatted down to the ground where she writhed in pain, clutching her stomach. Zheng Xianjing took out a colored photo from her bag to Mo Baichuan. Brother Baichuan, take a look at this. Mo Baichuan just felt green with rage and disgust. He really wished he could just strangle Li Xianxian right there. Chapter 488. Green Hat. _5. No wonder he had no memories after being drunk. Yet Li Ting insisted that he kept holding Li Xiangxian's hand. As it turned out, Li Xianxian and Li Ting had been in cahoots all along. Mo Baichuan clenched his fists, suppressing the rage in his heart. He could never have imagined that his best friend would betray him one day. From Mrs. Mo's point of view, she could see the picture clearly. Her face turned pale instantly, but she held back her anger due to the presence of so many people, and told Zhou Tianbao, take her away. Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam. Zhou Tianbao continuously expressed his gratitude, bowing deeply. Grandma, Grandma, you can't do this. I carry the flesh and blood of the Mo family in my womb. Li Xianxian clung to Mrs. Mo's leg, crying out. Mom. Xiao Jiao and Mo Rongping walked up to Mrs. Mo. No matter what, Li Xianxian was carrying the Mo family's child. Even if Li Xianxian really did something wrong, they should let her give birth to the child first. An innocent child. How could they allow their child to be abandoned? The child became Li Xiangxian's last bargaining chip. Mrs. Mo sighed and said to Zheng Xianjing, Xianjing, show the picture to your uncles and aunts. Upon seeing the picture, disbelief spread across the faces of Xiao Jiao and Mo Rongping. They originally thought that even if Li Xianxian had previously been married and had children, the Mo family couldn't reject the child she carried now. What they didn't expect was that this child wasn't Mo Baichuan's at all. Li Xianxian was just a promiscuous woman. Xiao Jiao, losing her temper, slapped Li Xiangxian's face. Regardless of her good upbringing, she couldn't contain her anger at this moment. Bitch. You bitch. Li Xiangxian's head was skewed from the slap, blood trickling from the corner of her mouth. She collapsed onto the ground. Her face was as pale as a piece of dry wood. Why? Why did it have to be this way? Dalian, let's go home. Zhou Tianbao came over and tried to lift Li Xianxian. Get away. Li Xianxian glared at Zhou Tianbao. Don't touch me. Mo Baichuan looked at the security guard nearby, ordering them coldly, get her out of here. Yes, sir. The bodyguards immediately stepped forward, lifting Li Xianxian up by her arms and dragging her away, like she was a dead dog. Li Xianxian was a pregnant woman. How could she possibly resist two men? All she could do was shout out in vain. But no one behind her responded. Zheng Xianjing. It was all because of that bitch Zheng Xianjing. If it were not for her, the wedding would have gone on perfectly today. She should not have underestimated her. She should not have disregarded Zheng Xianjing. She must make Zheng Xianjing pay the price. She must. Mrs. Mo looked at the guests below the stage and apologized. I'm terribly sorry. Our Mo family failed to discern people's true colors, making all of you witness such a farce. The ruckus for today ends here. Please move to the front hall. The crowd was bustling as everyone moved towards the front hall. After such an incident, they naturally wouldn't want to stay at the Mo household any longer. In a blink of an eye, the previously lively Mo family home became eerily quiet. Mrs. and Mr. Mo, the couple of Mo Rongping and Xiao Jiao, along with the other sons and daughters-in-law of the Mo family, were all sitting solemnly in the living room. This incident had somewhat impacted the reputation of the Mo family. Where's Chuan Chuan? Mrs. Mo turned to ask Xiao Jiao. Xiao Jiao sighed. Chuan Chuan is upset. He should have gone back to his room. Mrs. Mo continued. I am also to blame for this. If I hadn't forcibly pushed Sun Dalian toward Chuan Chuan in the first place, none of this would have happened. Now that it had come to this, Mrs. Mo was racked with remorse. It was all her fault. She had misunderstood people's intentions. Xiao Jiao said, Mom, you can't blame yourself. You were just considering Chuan Chuan's interests. The one to blame is Sun Dalian for her deep scheming. She even deceived me. Who would believe that Li Xianxian was such a person if they didn't see it with their own eyes? She hid it too well. Li Xianxian was dragged to the entrance of the Mo family's mansion by the security and Zhou Tianbao. The departing guests, passing by Li Xianxian, had nothing but contempt, mockery and disdain in their eyes. All kinds of looks were woven together, like a sharp sword. This kind of harm was far more damaging than any verbal attack. Feeling everyone's gaze, Li Xianxian only wanted to hide in a crevice. She was laying on the ground, her hands tightly clenched, gripping a large handful of dirt, her once pristine fingernails stained. Her present appearance bore no resemblance to her former self. She couldn't lose. She couldn't afford to lose. How could Xiaxian lose after all she had strived to achieve to date? She would make Zhang Xianjing meet an awful end. A mocking female voice overhead echoed, "Why is the bride lying on the ground?" Li Xianxian looked up and saw Zhang Xianjing's smug face. Zhang Xianjing bent down and whispered, "Li Xianxian, or rather, I should call you Sun Dalian now. I told you before, I will marry the person I want to marry. You're no match for me." At last, Li Xianxian had been pulled down from her pedestal. How could Zhang Xianjing not be delighted deep within? Li Xianxian stared at her fixedly, her eyes wide open, as though she intended to dislodge them from her eye sockets. Zhang Lingling walked over from the side, jeering, "Xianjing, why waste time on such a person? You might tarnish your eyes. Let's go." "Okay, Mom. I'm coming." Zhang Xianjing stood up and walked over to Zhang Lingling. After the mother-daughter duo departed confidently, Li Xianxian stared at their retreating figures, her spiteful gaze as if wanting to pierce through them. "Bitch." Li Xianxian's arm was violently pulled up. The one pulling Li Xianxian's arm was none other than Zhou Tianbao. Li Xianxian was pulled along by him while Zhou Fua followed, looking at Li Xianxian with indifference. On reaching Walt Road, Zhou Tianbao locked Li Xianxian in a room and started beating her. "Let go of me. Zhou Tianbao, please let me go." Li Xianxian lay wounded on the ground, pleading with Zhou Tianbao. Hearing this, Zhou Tianbao responded by delivering a vicious kick to Li Xianxian. "Dream on, you wretch. I'll never let you go in this lifetime." Li Xianxian's white wedding gown had turned black now. News of this event quickly spread throughout Beijing's social circles. The Writers' Association was also swiftly informed. Li Xianxian had quite a reputation in the literary world. An article she had published recently had even amazed the literary community's seniors, leading them to personally commend it. How could someone who could write such excellent articles commit such an act? Where is Li Xianxian now? Bring her over quickly. Such talent is encountered once in 100 years. We simply can't let her just perish. People in the literary world discovered the distraught and ragged Li Xianxian at Walt Road immediately. Upon meeting the literary figures, Li Xianxian's previously dull eyes brightened. She almost forgot she had another identity, a writer. In the literary world, Li Xianxian was treated with great respect. For a brief moment, it seemed like Li Xianxian returned to her glorious days of old. In those few days, Li Xianxian produced another masterpiece of 30,000 words in a single stride and planned to submit it to the chairman after revising. In the chairman's office, "Mr. Chairman, there is a gentleman calling himself Mr. Mo outside, along with a little girl who wishes to see you." The chairman of the literary world was a very kind middle-aged man. Hearing this, he put down his pen and asked, "What do they want from me?" The assistant hesitated, then said, "It's about plagiarism." In this circle, plagiarism is a major concern. The chairman immediately said, "Bring them in to see me right away." Chapter 489. Continuous Face Slapping. _1. As it was a matter of plagiarism, the chief took the meeting with great seriousness. The visitors appeared to be a father and daughter duo. The man was elegant and handsome, with an invisible aura that demanded attention. The child he held by the hand was exquisite. Yet still, whenever glimpsed through the eyes of the child, it was the man who reflected through. It was no one else but Mo Qishan and Mo Hudi. "Hello." The chief greeted first. He had met countless people in his life, and he could tell this man was not ordinary. "Hello, Chief Lu." The man nodded slightly. "Please sit." The chief turned to the assistant. Go and pour Mr. Mo some tea. All right. The assistant turned to make the tea. Mo Chishan didn't immediately respond to the Chief Lu. Instead he introduced, this is my niece Mo Hudi, pen name Butterfly Fly. Pen name Butterfly Fly? This little girl looked to be under 10. Was she already writing at such a young age? Mo Hudi greeted politely, hello Uncle Chief. Hello little Butterfly Fly. Within their circle, everyone referred to each other by their pen names. At this, Chief Lu turned again to Mo Chishan. May I ask Mr. Mo, are you here to defend little Butterfly Fly? Despite having not introduced his own pen name, Mo Chishan first introduced Mo Hudi, hinting that he was here for her, not himself. At this point, Chief Lu was becoming curious. What type of work could come from someone so young as Mo Hudi? Mo Chishan nodded slightly, handing over 2 prepared notebooks to Chief Lu. You will understand if you take a look at these. The notebooks were thick with writing. Innocent scribbles maturing to graceful, spirited handwriting, tracking the growth of a little girl. Chief Lu read with great concentration, his face growing more rigid. Does Chief Lu think he's seen these somewhere before? Mo Chishan interjected at the right time. These were all written by Butterfly Fly? Chief Lu was both shocked and incredulous. Yes. Mo Chishan nodded. Chief Lu continued, but these are the works of Li Xianxian, one of our association's authors. This was before the internet and communication was not as developed. The distribution of literary works depended on newspapers and physical publications. There had been instances of plagiarism, albeit a small percentage. It would have been believable if Mo Hudi was accused of plagiarizing Li Xianxian, but vice versa was indeed hard to fathom. After all, Mo Hudi was merely a preteen girl. Ordinarily, a child of her age could barely read, let alone produce works of such caliber. With a steady expression, Mo Chishan said, it was Li Xianxian who stole Xiaodai's works. Chief Liu's face darkened. That's impossible. He had always admired Li Xianxian's talent. He was a fan, he simply could not accept that she would plagiarize. Observing Chief Liu's thoughts, Mo Chishan continued. Chief Lu, you must not dismiss her talent simply due to Xiaodai's age. These works are all products of Xiaodai's hard work. I've heard that Chief Lu is a person who values talent, and I hope you can be objective in handling this. Chief Lu adjusted the glasses on his nose. I can't label Li Xianxian as a plagiarizer based on your one-sided account. We need to investigate this matter. Plagiarism is serious. It shouldn't be decided lightly. Also, Mo Hudi's works hadn't been published yet, whereas Li Xianxian's work had already been in circulation for several months. If you were to pinpoint someone as plagiarizing, it would seem that Mo Hudi was the one who plagiarized. Suggesting that Li Xianxian plagiarized was a claim that didn't hold water. Mo Chishan frowned. I understand Chief Liu's concern. The reason Xiaodai's works have not been published is due to a health issue. She has been bedridden for a while. It is during this period that Li Xianxian plagiarized Xiaodai's original work and beat us to publication. Mo Chishan quickly summarized Mo Hudi's situation to Chief Lu. Mr. Mo, everything requires evidence. You claim Li Xianxian plagiarized, and she can sue you for defamation. There's no evidence of plagiarism, but the defamation is a fact. These are the works that Xiaodai created a year ago. They are now under review for publication by Yipin Literature Publishing House. Mo Chishan handed over a document. Chief Lu was shocked as he looked through the handed documents. He found it hard to believe that this work came from the hands of a child in her early teens. Did you really write this? Chief Lu crouched down to eye level with Mo Hudi. Chapter 490. Constant face slapping. _2. Mo Hudi nodded. Chair Lu continued. Can you tell me, what was your initial intention in writing this piece? Mo Hudi responded. When I was writing this article, I was seriously ill, being tormented daily. The most relaxed time during the day was probably when I was writing. Reality was too cruel, so I filled my words with all the beautiful things. I hope there's no illness in this world, and everyone is happy. In Mo Hudi's words, there was not a trace of negativity towards life. If one didn't witness her plight firsthand, It would be hard to believe that such resonant prose actually came from a little girl bedridden with illness. Chair Lu was taken aback. At this moment, there was a knock at the door. Chair Lu stood up, adjusted his glasses and said, "Come in." The person outside the door came in and walked up to Chair Lu, handing him a document. "Chair, this is a manuscript that Comrade Li Xianxian stayed up all night to complete." As Chair Lu put a lot of emphasis on Li Xianxian, all her new works were delivered to him as soon as they were completed. Chair Lu reached out to take the document. After flipping through a few pages, his face suddenly turned unsightly, because the work that Li Xianxian just completed was exactly the same as the work that Mo Hudi had written a year ago. Yet, many sentences in Li's piece lacked the beauty of Hudi's original, and had a forced, pieced-together feel. If Chair Lu hadn't seen Mo Hudi's original manuscript, he would definitely be awed by Li Xianxian's genius once again. But now Chair Lu felt embarrassed and angry. Unexpectedly, the author he personally promoted turned out to be a plagiarist. Chair Lu placed the document on the desk and said, "You go out first." The assistant was stunned. Chair Liu's reaction was too calm. Didn't he intend to praise Li Xianxian? What about the publication fee and the prize money? If it were in the past, Chair Lu would definitely lavish Li Xianxian with praise. "You go out first." Chair Lu repeated. "Oh, okay." The assistant finally reacted and turned to leave the room. After the assistant left, Chair Lu looked at Mo Qishan and said apologetically, "Mr. Mo, rest assured, I will definitely seek justice for Hudi." Chair Liu's change from addressing Hudi as kid to comrade suggested his acknowledgement of Mo Hudi. "All right," Mo Qishan nodded. "I trust in Chair Liu's handling of matters." Chair Lu went on, "Also, could these original manuscripts stay with me for a few days?" "Of course." Mo Qishan continued. "Then I will not bother Chair Lu anymore, shall I? Say goodbye to Chair Lu." "Goodbye, Chair Lu." After Mo Qishan and Mo Hudi left, Chair Lu compared Mo Hudi's other works with Li Xianxian's work again. Before he had only skimmed through it briefly and didn't notice any differences. But now, having made a comparison, the quality was immediately distinguishable. Li Xianxian's work only copied the rough idea, but didn't capture the essence, whereas Mo Hudi's work was authentic and original. Chair Lu was very angry. All his life he appreciated talent, and held great expectations for Li Xianxian, but he never thought Li Xianxian would plagiarize. Li Xianxian was waiting in her room for Chair Liu's praise. Seeing the assistant return empty-handed, with no sign of Chair Lu following behind, she asked curiously, "Wu Li, why did you come back alone? Where's Chair Lu?" Wu Li was also puzzled. "There was someone in Chair Liu's office when I went there." Li Xianxian continued. "So did Chair Lu see my work?" "Yes." Wu Li nodded. "Then did Chair Lu say anything?" Li Xianxian asked. "No." Wu Li answered truthfully. "Strange." Li Xianxian slightly furrowed her brows. Given Chair Liu's appreciation of her work, he shouldn't have remained silent. Could it be that Chair Lu was stunned by her talent? Perhaps he will personally come over to congratulate her in a while? Yes. That must be it. After all, her writings are groundbreaking masterpieces that shock the literary circle. Probably in the entire circle, there are few who could compare with her. Wu Li went on. "If there's nothing else, then I'll go first." "All right." Li Xianxian nodded. After Wu Li left, Li Xianxian stayed in the room waiting for Chair Liu's arrival. As dusk fell, there was finally a knock on the door outside. Chapter 491. Continuous Face Slapping. _3. It's definitely Chairman Lu. Li Xianxian's heart jumps with joy. She stands up immediately to open the door. The visitor indeed is Chairman Lu, and he is followed by a few senior members of the literary circle. "Chairman Lu, esteemed seniors," Li Xianxian greets them with a smile. "I'm just a young newbie in the literary world. I am unworthy of such attention from the chairman and the seniors." Before Li Xianxian can finish her sentence, Chairman Lu interrupts her, his expression cold, and throws 2 notebooks onto the table. "What are these?" The sudden change in Chairman Liu's attitude freezes the smile on Li Xianxian's face. She picks up the notebooks, flips through a few pages, and her face turns pale. "Isn't this the original manuscript of Mo Hudi? How did it end up in Chairman Liu's hands? No. She can't panic, she needs to calm down. She published her work 2 months ago. She is the original author. These were written by her late into the night, through painstaking effort. Mo Hudi has nothing to do with her work. Angry, Li Xianxian voices out. Someone has plagiarized me. Chairman, you have to take a stand for me. Chairman Lu furrows his eyebrows. Are you sure they plagiarized you, and not the other way around? Li Xianxian insists. No, not me. I published it 2 months ago. It's clear that she plagiarized me. I am the original author, who could I copy from? Li Xianxian's argument hinges on the fact that she was the first to publish. Since she knew from her past life that Mo Hudi had a reputation in the world of literature, she tried to approach the Mo family while simultaneously plotting against Mo Hudi. Only when Mo Hudi is gone can she be at ease. This was her reason for orchestrating the divine doctor from Jiangnan to treat Mo Hudi. The divine doctor had a feud with the Mo family. So, even if Mo Hudi were to die under his treatment, it wouldn't be related to her. As expected, the divine doctor didn't disappoint Li Xianxian. However, things took a turn because of Enai Yang. If not for Enai Yang's meddling, Mo Hudi would have died long ago. A senior standing next to Chairman Lu addresses her. Li Xianxian, we have already scrutinized both your work and Hudi's. You of all people should be very clear about who copied whom. The difference between an original and a copy is clear to the eyes of an expert. I didn't copy anything. You're defaming me. I published my work before Hudi. How can you assert that I copied? Then how do you explain this? Chairman Lu throws Li Xianxian's recent work onto the table. Your manuscript was finished in haste these past few days, whereas Hudi's work was completed a year ago. Moreover, her manuscript was submitted to the Yipin Literary Publishing House over a week ago. Li Xianxian's eyes widened. It was Hudi who stole my original manuscript. The Mo family is trying to frame me. Chairman, please don't be fooled by them. I have not plagiarized anything. All my works are original ideas, and have nothing to do with anyone else. Another senior shakes his head in defeat. Li Xianxian, stop struggling in vain. Your plagiarism isn't even subtle, and your work is dull. It can't be compared to Hudi's original manuscript. Anyone with discerning eyes can tell who copied whom. Chairman Lu continues, Li Xianxian, from now on, you're no longer a part of the literary circle. On behalf of the Association of Authors, we revoke all your author privileges and honors. Henceforth, you won't be able to publish any books. In other words, Li Xianxian has been completely blacklisted in the literary world. Li Xianxian's face turns from pale to ghostly white. I didn't plagiarize, Chairman, I really didn't. Chairman Lu speaks with disappointment, please leave. Another senior member voices out angrily, you still don't know how to repent. Li Xianxian, you are a disgrace to our literary world. But how could Li Xianxian simply leave? The literary circle is her only sanctuary now. If she leaves, wouldn't that indirectly admit to her plagiarism? But she didn't plagiarize. Allegations of plagiarism can be a big deal. Once it's published in the newspaper, it can even affect her education. As Li Xianxian refuses to leave, Chairman Lu is left with no choice but to call the security. Li Xianxian is thrown out on the street, still clinging to her luggage. The streetlights are not very bright at this time. It's pitch dark at night. Li Xianxian sits under the streetlight, sobbing with her head in her hands. When did her life start to take such a dreadful turn? Over the years, all her hard work has paid off and things were beginning to look up. Chapter 492, Continuous Face Slapping. _4. As one who had been reborn, she couldn't believe she had lost to a green teenager like Enai Yang. Enai Yang? No, that's not right. Li Xianxian suddenly opened her eyes wide. Certain that Enai Yang was not the same Enai Yang from before. Enai Yang had also been reborn. Everything has been planned by Enai Yang. They were both reborn. Why on earth was Enai Yang able to come out of that small mountain village and live a carefree life, while she had to endure all these troubles? Fate was utterly unjust. Li Xianxian clenched her fists tightly. What should she do now? At that moment, Li Xianxian suddenly remembered that she was pregnant. The father of the child was Li Tingji. Although the Li family was no match for the Mo family, and Li Tingji was not as good as Mo Baichuan, the Li family was also a wealthy family. Li Tingji was so fond of her that she might be able to rise again with his help. With that in mind, Li Xianxian headed towards the nearby phone booth to call Li Tingji to pick her up. But the one who answered the phone was always Li Yanran. Not only did she not let Li Tingji answer the phone, but she also mocked Li Xianxian from the other end of the line. Helpless, Li Xianxian had to go to the Li family casa in person to find Li Tingji. The servants at the Li household were also less enthusiastic than before and did not even bother to extend the usual courtesy. Sorry, our young master has no time to meet insignificant persons. Insignificant person? Li Xianxian frowned slightly. Am insignificant? Let Tingji come out and see me now. Be careful, or Tingji will make you regret wasting my time. Hearing this, the servant's face changed. Who in the Li family didn't know that Li Tingji treated Li Xianxian like his treasure? Just as the servants hesitated, Li Yanran came out. Oh, who do we have here? It is actually Mo Baichuan's fiancé, Sun Dalian. A simple sentence, it was full of mockery. Li Xianxian swallowed her anger. Where's Tingji? I want to see him. Her turn will comes. The first person she's going to deal with when she gets married into the Li family is Li Yanran. Sun Dalian, if I were you, I'd have dug a hole and crawled into it. How can you still have the face to come find my brother? I'm pregnant with your brother's child. Li Xianxian dropped a bombshell. This child would be the first child of the Li family, and Li Tingji was so fond of her. He wouldn't possibly deny his own child. She did not believe that Li Yanran could ignore this news. Li Yanran snorted coldly. My brother's child? That's hilarious. Sun Dalian, do you really think my brother picks up scraps? Get lost. Or you'll keep making a fool of yourself. Even if the child Li Xianxian was carrying was truly Li Tingji's, the Li family would never admit it. Li Xianxian was nothing more than a notorious and evil woman. The Li family would never ruin its reputation and destroy its future. Enraged, Li Xianxian said, Li Yanran, the child in my belly is Tingji's first baby. If there is any accident, can you bear the responsibility? Who knows whose bastard that is? Li Yanran mocked. Sun Dalian, do you really think you're some sought-after prize? You're nothing but an unwanted rat. Where are the security? Get this woman out of here. Li Xianxian tried to resist. Li Yanran, how dare you treat me this way? If Tingji knew about this, he wouldn't let you off. It was unbearable. These people were just unbearable. They dared to treat her like this behind Li Tingji's back. Hold on. Li Yanran lifted her hand lightly, and the security guards instantly stopped and looked back at her. Li Yanran continued. Since you are so longing to see my brother, I will fulfill your wish. Xiaofeng, go upstairs and call my brother down. Yes, miss. Xiaofeng nodded, turned around and climbed up the stairs. Before long, Li Tingji came down from upstairs. Seeing Li Tingji, Li Xianxian's eyes lit up instantly, and she rushed to him. Tingji. This time, the security guards didn't stop her. Li Xianxian had a belly full of grievances to pour out to Li Tingji. However, Li Tingji swung away Li Xianxian with one hand, shouting angrily, Get lost. You disgust me. Li Xianxian was knocked to the ground. She looked at Li Tingji in disbelief and cried out in anguish. Tingji, don't you recognize me? Xianxian. Li Tingji never expected that one day he would be deceived so badly by a woman. Everything about Li Xianxian was fake. Her talent was a sham. Chapter 493. Continuous face slapping. _5. Her name was a sham. Even her chastity was a sham. For this counterfeit woman, he ended his brotherly friendship with Mo Baichuan that had lasted over 20 years. He was filled with regret. Regret for his poor judgment of character. When Enai Yang had warned him, he should have investigated Li Xianxian thoroughly. If he had shown just a hint of caution towards Li Xianxian, he wouldn't have been deceived so horribly. Now, the mere thought of their one night together made him sick to his stomach. Li Tingji couldn't bear to look at Li Xianxian for a second longer, and turned to leave. With her arms crossed and looking down on Li Xianxian, Li Yanran said, Sun Dalian, are you finally ready to give up now? Li Xianxian collapsed on the ground. her face deathly pale, clawing at the mud with both hands. It didn't matter if the Li family refused to acknowledge her now. Once she gave birth to the child, they would have no choice but to acknowledge her. Just 9 more months. She would surely make a comeback. Li Xiangxian's hand rested on her lower belly, determination flashing in her eyes. Night fell. Li Xianxian spent the night huddled by the roadside. Passers-by who saw her screamed in fright. The shrill sound of ambulance sirens followed soon after. When Li Xianxian woke up again, her vision was filled with white, and the smell of medicine filled her nostrils. Was this the hospital? Why was she in the hospital? At that moment, a sharp pain shot through her abdomen. You've just come out of surgery, you can't move around. A nurse's voice floated in her ear. Surgery? Li Xianxian looked at the nurse with a face drained of color. Why did I have surgery? The nurse said, you had a miscarriage and have just undergone a dilation and curettage procedure. Do you have any family? They need to come and cover the cost of the surgery and hospitalization. Miscarriage? Li Xianxian grabbed the nurse's arm, her voice frantic. Why did I miscarry? Where is my child? Give me back my child. She had lost everything now. Her only hope was the child. But now, with her child gone too, what could she use to bind the Li family to her? Was all this just a nightmare? No matter what, Li Xianxian couldn't accept the reality. The nurse said, please calm down. You had already miscarried when you were brought in last night. But how could Li Xianxian stay calm? She made a scene, breaking down in tears, completely out of control. You're all scheming against me. You want to harm me. Give me back my child. Having no other choice, the nurse injected Li Xianxian with a tranquilizer, which finally quieted her. The next day, an article about Li Xianxian plagiarizing from Mo Hudi was published in the newspapers. Just like that, the name Butterfly rocketed to fame in the literary world. Many literati and authors all visited the Mo family to meet this child prodigy. Mo Hudi also enjoys talking to these scholars. Though her physical age is only in her teens, her intellectual age is several times that of an adult. She finds common topics of discussion with these scholars and men of letters. The Mo family elders were both relieved to realize at this point that Li Xianxian had intentionally brought in the divine doctor from Jiangnan to treat Mo Hudi. From the very beginning, she wanted to kill Mo Hudi, so she could freely plagiarize Mo Hudi's work. Mo's grandmother regretted it deeply. Shouted, I am sorry, your grandma nearly caused your death. It's like I brought back a venomous snake. Looking back, it's still hair-raising. If An Yang had not come to Mo Hudi's rescue at that time, Mo Hudi would already be dead. Thankfully there was An Yang. Mo Hudi, understanding, replied, Grandma, to err is human. You don't need to blame yourself. Look at me, I am all right now, aren't I? Mo's grandmother held Mo Hudi so tight, tears streaming down her face. Mo Qishan patted his mother's back. Mom, it's all in the past. There's no need to be so sad. Wiping the tears from her face, Mo's grandmother said, Yes, I am not sad. I am happy. Thankfully we met Yang, otherwise Xiaodai might have been killed by that Sundalian. Mo Qishan nodded. We really need to thank Yang. If it weren't for Yang noticing Xiaodai's talent and reminding me to find a teacher for her, we might still be kept in the dark. Once the issue of plagiarism drags on for a period of time, it becomes difficult to handle. Mo's grandma said, Yang is like a lucky star for our Mo family. Qishan, you can't bully her. If I find you bullying Yang, see if I don't break your legs. Mo Qishan was all smiles. Am I still your son? If you weren't my own son, would you be treated like this? Mo's grandma continued. Qishan, I am not kidding with you. You have to listen to Yang. Do whatever she says. You can't make her mad, got it? Mo Qishan pretended to feel aggrieved. Mom, as a man, I should be standing tall and firm. How can I be controlled by a young girl? Mo's grandmother scolded him. You think you're standing tall and firm? If I tell you to listen to Yang, you listen to her. If you dare to get her mad, don't even think about coming back home. What if she is being unreasonable? Mo Qishan asked. Mo's grandmother snapped back. Yang is such a good girl, how can she be unreasonable? If there's any mistake, it must be yours. Emochishin. He must be the picked-up child. Mo's grandfather added from the side. Your mother is right, Yang Yang is a good girl, she won't act unreasonably. You should listen to Yang Yang. You are grown up now, and you're often so casual. What does that look like? Yang Yang is so outstanding, if you don't buck up, how can you deserve her? Emochishin laughed it off. Yang Yang is not so superficial, she likes me the way I am. Not only does Yang Yang like the way he is, she also wants to support him financially. I think you need to be beaten. Mo's grandpa smacked Emochishin's leg with his walking stick. The old man was genuinely worried. Seeing that Yang kept getting better, while Emochishin remained the same, he was afraid that one day Yang would look down upon Emochishin. Emochishin jumped and cried out, Dad, you're serious about this? Mo's grandfather said angrily, You think I'm joking with you? If you dare to make Yang Yang angry, this won't be the last time. Then he added, Do you have enough money recently? I have plenty, Dad. Emochishin replied seriously, You don't have to worry about money. Mo's grandfather didn't quite trust him. As in everyone's eyes, Emochishin was just an unemployed person. Your old man won't laugh at you. Are you feeling awkward? His grandfather handed a bank card to Emochishin while speaking. Young people dating nowadays need to go out, watch movies, and occasionally buy little gifts. Money runs out quickly. Mo's grandfather wouldn't want Emochishin to be distressed about money. Our family is rich, no need to feel awkward. The Emo family certainly had more than enough money to support Emochishin. Emochishin said helplessly, Dad, I really do have money and I have my own business. His grandpa simply didn't believe him. He remembered that Emochishin once took the elder members of the family to tour his company base. But both of the elders refused to believe what they saw, insisting that it was a performance set up by Emochishin. Emochishin was also helpless. You think your old man would laugh at you? His grandfather forcefully handed him the card. Just take it. Otherwise, it'll break your leg. Chapter 494. Repeat, Li Xianxian goes to prison _1. Out of helplessness, Emochishin could only accept it. Only then did old master Emo feel satisfied. At this moment, Emo Baichuan walked in from outside and respectfully greeting, Grandpa, Grandma, sixth uncle. Chuan is back. Old Madam Emo greeted with a beaming smile. Are you tired? Have you eaten yet? I have eaten. Emo Baichuan answered, turning to head upstairs. The incident with Li Xianxian seemed to have had little effect on Emo Baichuan. He went about his daily routine as usual, work, eat, but compared to before, he was much more reticent. He wore a stern face all day, as if someone owed him a huge sum of money. Watching Emo Baichuan's figure disappear up to the third floor, old Madam Emo heaved a sigh. Old Master Emo also looked a little upset. If it weren't for them, Emo Baichuan wouldn't have experienced all this. They owed their eldest grandson an apology. Mom, Dad, don't blame yourselves over this matter. Emochishin walked over, wrapping an arm around old Master Emo and old Madam Mo's shoulders. Ultimately, Emo Baichuan was also to blame for this. He had shunned their advice, stubbornly trusting Li Xianxian. Before the wedding, Emochishin had specifically advised Emo Baichuan. June 23rd. The day National College entrance examination results were announced. In the era without internet, one had to personally go to school to check the results. Early in the morning, the campus was packed with students who had come to check their results, and Li Wei was one of them. Li Wei. The homeroom teacher walked up to Li Wei, beaming. Teacher Yin. Teacher Yin continued, Li Wei, congratulations. You scored an impressive 510 marks in the college entrance examination. The total score for the college entrance examination was 650 points. Scoring 510 points was indeed quite remarkable. This was, after all, the 1980s. Everyone who managed to get into college was considered exceptional. Moreover, a score of 510 points was enough to pass the first-tier college cutoff. Li Wei certainly had a promising future ahead. However, Li Wei was a bit disappointed. Only 510 points. He had originally planned to apply for a 985 top-notch university, but with this score, he couldn't even meet the cutoff for 211 universities. and would only manage a regular first-tier college, let alone a top-tier one. Yang scored a high 645 points in the previous transfer student examination. How was he to compete with Yang? For the college entrance examination, Li Wei had put in enormous effort, barely eating or sleeping for 2 months straight. But the result was that he scored 135 points less than Yang. If Yang's score was considered for the college entrance examination, she could choose any prestigious university in the country, and could even go to a reputed university abroad. No. He had worked so hard, how could it be that he was outdone by a self-taught individual? Li Wei was very upset as he asked, "Teacher Yin, who had the best score in our class?" Teacher Yin replied, "The college examination paper was too difficult this time. The highest scorer in our class is you. The top scorer in our school is Wu Dajuan from class 16, who scored 599 points." Upon hearing this, Li Wei felt even worse. He and Wu Dajuan were elementary school classmates. Back then, Wu Dajuan didn't have good grades and frequently failed Chinese and mathematics. Unexpectedly, he was outperformed by Wu Dajuan in the college entrance examination. Feeling guilty, Li Wei said, "I'm sorry, Teacher Yin. I didn't do well this time and failed your expectations." Teacher Yin smiled and said, No. Li Wei, you've done well enough." Li Wei had always been his promising student. A score of 510 was within Teacher Yin's expectations, indicating that Li Wei hadn't performed poorly. Moreover, the examination paper this time was particularly difficult. Li Wei then asked, "Oh yes, Teacher Yin, can I see the test paper from the last transfer student examination?" "Why would you want to see that?" Teacher Yin was puzzled. Li Wei said, "A friend of mine wants to take the transfer student examination next year, so I wanted to show him this year's questions." Teacher Yin nodded. "Oh, I see. Then come with me." Li Wei followed Teacher Yin's footsteps. There were a few teachers chatting in the office. One of them asked, "Hey, old Sue, why haven't we seen that dark horse from your class lately?" Teacher Sue asked, "You mean Yang?" "Yes, her." Teacher Sue smiled. "That child has a special family situation, so she doesn't come to school on regular days, only showing up for examinations." Teacher Wang looked surprised. "Does not attending school still qualify one as a student? Old Sue, isn't this child overly arrogant? Does she think that just because she ranked first in the transfer student examination, she doesn't need to attend school? The pen is mightier than the brain, you know." Another teacher said, "Yang is a student with great potential. Old Sue, you must pay close attention to her. We must not let such a promising student who can get into a top college go to waste." Chapter 495. Repeat. Li Xianxian goes to prison _2. Teacher Wang nodded. I know what I'm doing." Teacher Yin walked in with Li Wei, and Li Wei heard all the conversation inside. He also thought that Yang was too arrogant. How could one not come to school for classes? "Teacher Sue, can you lend me the exam paper of Yang, the transfer student from your class last time?" Teacher Yin came to Teacher Zu's desk with Li Wei. "Sure." As Teacher Sue was searching for the exam paper, he asked, "What do you need it for?" Teacher Yin replied with a smile, "A friend of Li Wei in our class is planning to take the transfer examination next year, so he wants to see the exam paper." A teacher immediately remarked, "Teacher Yin, Li Wei from your class did a good job. 510 marks would be enough for him to get into a key university. Li Wei, congratulations." "Thank you, Teacher Zhao." Li Wei, who was feeling down, didn't have any smile on his face. However, the other teachers interpreted his expression as proof of his ability to stay calm and not show off despite his exceptional performance. Teacher Zhao patted Yin's shoulder and said earnestly, "The transfer student introduced by Li Wei should not be bad. Teacher Yin, you must take this opportunity. Don't let what happened with Yang happen again." All the teachers in the office felt heartbroken for Teacher Zhang Chong for missing out on a potential key university student. Teacher Yin laughed and said, "I will be teaching new first-year students next term, so the transfer students won't have much to do with me." Teacher Wang immediately chimed in, "I am going to teach third years next year, so Li Wei, Do tell me about the academic performance of your friend joining as a transfer student. Li Wei casually said, their grades are average and should be able to pass the exam. Upon hearing this, Teacher Wang lost most of his enthusiasm. He needed a dark horse. At this moment, Teacher Su found N.I. Yang's paper. The paper consisted of 8 sections. All the answers for mathematics, English, history, chemistry, and biology were correct. Then, N.I. Yang lost 3 marks for a fill-in-the-blank question in the Chinese section, and lost 1 mark each in political science and physics, scoring a total of 645 marks. In addition, her handwriting was neat, making the paper tidy and pleasant to inspect. Teacher Su handed the paper to Li Wei and lamented, N.I. Yang's foundation is solid. It's a pity that she lost 3 marks for the fill-in-the-blank question in the Chinese section. Normally, more mistakes are made in reading comprehension. It is rare to see mistakes like N.I. Yang's in fill-in-the-blank questions. After all, answers to fill-in-the-blank questions usually come from rote learning and can be mastered with some effort. Thank you, Teacher Su. Li Wei expressed his gratitude, then asked, Teacher Su, may I take this paper home for my friend to study? Teacher Su readily agreed, you may. Li Wei thanked him again. Teacher Su nodded. After Li Wei left, he kept praising Li Wei for his maturity to Teacher Yin. Meanwhile, as soon as Li Wei got home, Li Dongliang and Qian Jinfeng rushed over to greet him. Xiaowei, how did you do in your exam? 510 marks, Li Wei answered gloomily. 510 marks. Li Dongliang and Qian Jinfeng were both overjoyed at the news. Li Dongliang asked, is this score enough to get into a key university? Xiaowei, which school are you planning to apply to? To get into a key university. At that time, even a fresh graduate from an ordinary university could secure a secure job. 3 generations of the Li family were all farmers. Li Dongliang never dreamed that his family could produce a university student. It was like good luck had struck the ancestral grave. Qian Jinfeng could not contain her smile. Xiaowei, where is your report card? Let me see it quickly. Li Wei handed over his report card to Qian Jinfeng, and then turned around to go into the room. Li Dongliang and Qian Jinfeng held the score report. 510 marks. It's really 510 marks. I'm not dreaming. Our son is really incredible. The couple went around showing off their son's report card to their neighbors and discussed when to host a celebration party. For an ordinary family, producing a college student was a big deal, and it was worth celebrating. Li Wei carefully examined N.I. Yang's paper in his room. He found that the transfer student exam was quite easy. If he had taken the exam, his score would not have been lower than N.I. Yang's. So he made a bold decision. He decided to forego his current college entrance exam score and choose to retake the exam. With his current performance, if he repeated a year, his score next year would definitely top N.I. Yang's, and he might even become the top scorer in the college entrance exam. Before meeting N.I. Yang, Li Wei would have been satisfied with his score of 510. But after meeting N.I. Yang, he was no longer satisfied with a 510. Chapter 496. Repeat, Li Xianxian goes to prison _3. N.I. Yang's various conditions are all superior to his. If his grades can't surpass N.I. Yang's, then what face does he have to stand with N.I. Yang? They all say that a girl's IQ will decline after a certain age. By the time N.I. Yang takes the college entrance exam next year, she will be 19 years old. At that time, she will definitely not surpass him. So he must choose to repeat a year. Only then can he outdo N.I. Yang. Li Wei put down his exam paper and walked downstairs. In the living room, Li Dongliang was discussing with Qian Jinfeng about when to throw a party. Dad, Mom. What's wrong, son? Qian Jinfeng asked with concern. Do you want to eat something? Let Mom cook it for you. No. Li Wei shook his head and then said, Dad, Mom, I don't think I did well on this exam. I might have underperformed. Li Dongliang laughed and said, Xiaowei, I have asked around. You scored the highest in our whole street. The neighbor Wang Long only scored a little over 390 points, which is not even enough to be placed in the 4th class. He can barely get into a 3rd-tier university. Absolutely. Qian Jinfeng chimed in. Your cousin also took the exam this year, I called your aunt and asked. He only scored a little over 300 points too. I heard the exam was particularly difficult this year. We are overjoyed that you scored 510 points. Describing Li Wei as the golden phoenix of the Li family is not an exaggeration at all. Li Wei said very seriously, Dad, Mom, I've made up my mind. I want to retake the exam. I hope you can support me. What? Li Dongliang thought he was hallucinating. I want to retake the exam. Li Wei emphasized each word. Qian Jinfeng touched Li Wei's forehead. Son, do you have a fever? That's more than 500 points after all. A score that most people cannot reach. Repeating a year sounds easy. If luck isn't on his side, he may not even get 510 points. That would be really embarrassing. Li Wei said very firmly, Mom, I don't have a fever, I'm very clear-headed. I want to retake the exam. Why? Li Dongliang asked. Qian Jinfeng was also looking at Li Wei with great anticipation. Li Wei continued, because my ideal score is above 620 points, and my desired universities are Tsinghua University and Beijing University. Mom, Dad, please support my decision to retake the exam. No, I don't agree. Li Dongliang disagreed. For Li Dongliang, just being able to attend a first-tier university was very satisfying. There was absolutely no need to retake the exam for a 985 project university. Mom doesn't agree either. It's a waste of time and tuition to repeat a year. What if you fail the exam? Won't that make our family the laughing stock? For Qian Jinfeng, that seemed like too much of a risk, so she refused. Moreover, at this time, there was no tuition-free policy. To repeat senior 3-year, it would cost 200 yuan for tuition and textbooks, not to mention other miscellaneous expenses. With these 200 yuan, wouldn't it be better spent on buying big spare ribs for dinner? This hardware store run by the Li family had an annual income of less than 3,000 yuan. Mom, Dad, with 510 points, I can only attend an average first-tier university. After graduation, I won't even be able to find a good job. But 985 project universities are different. With a degree from these institutions, I can get a job in a government department immediately after graduation. Isn't the aim of your supporting me through my education, so that I can have a good future? This remark slightly swayed Li Dongliang, as those working in government departments are all officials. Looking back 3 generations in the Li family, none of them have ever been officials. If Li Wei could become a high-ranking official, wouldn't that be prestigious? Li Dongliang continued. Xiao Wei, what if you don't get into a 985 project university? I won't fail. Li Wei continued, with my score of 510 as a foundation, and repeating another year of senior 3, how could I possibly fail? Dad, you don't need to worry about this at all. What Li Wei said made sense. Qian Jinfeng asked, what if the exam questions are harder next year? Li Wei laughed. Mom, you don't need to worry about that at all either. Our teacher said that this year had the hardest exam questions in the past 3 years, and next year won't be harder than this year. Also, I will continue to study during this repeating year. Even if I perform worse, my score will absolutely not be lower than 510 points. After wavering for a long time, the couple consented to retake the exam, swayed by Li Wei's persuasion. Upon hearing the news of Li Wei's decision to retake the exam, even teacher Yin was quite surprised, but Li Wei insisted on retaking the exam, so he could only respect his choice. Because no one took care of the hospitalization fee, Li Xianxian was forced to discharge herself from the hospital. Chapter 497. Repeat. Li Xianxian goes to prison _4. She was walking on the bustling street, her face pale. She refused to accept it. She was extremely reluctant to accept it. Ever since her rebirth, her life had been getting better and better. She went from being a simple village girl to being a student at Beijing Normal University. She had even almost married Mo Baichuan. Nobody knew how much effort she had put into getting here. But what about now? Dumped by Mo Baichuan. Expelled from school. Exposed by the literary world for plagiarism. Now, she had lost everything. All her accomplishments had disappeared overnight. The more Li Xianxian thought about it, the more unwilling she was to accept things as they were. Her features twisted in bitterness. She wanted to commit suicide, but she also refused to die just like that. Why would she be the one who had to die alone? If she had to die, she needed to pull someone else down with her. The person responsible for her current condition was En-Yang. She planned to make En-Yang die alongside her. Li Xianxian clenched her fists hidden inside her sleeves. She was exerting so much strength that her knuckles were already white, the nails sinking deep into her flesh. Today was the grand opening of En-Yang's third noodle restaurant and milk tea shop. So En-Yang was busy helping at the new establishment. The third restaurant and tea shop was located in a different district of Beijing, more than 30 kilometers away from the first and second restaurants and tea shops. Despite it being the first day of operation for the new shop, the good pre-opening promotion, and the significant opening day discounts managed to attract a crowd of noodle lovers. Li Xianxian, after moving about, finally arrived at the noodle restaurant. Looking through the glass window, she saw En-Yang busily moving about inside. En-Yang was wearing a simple outfit of a white shirt and black pants, her hair tied up in a bun. Her attire was extremely simple, but it was enough to make people stop and take notice. She was truly beautiful. Li Xianxian had known of En-Yang's beauty since her previous life. When Li Xianxian met En-Yang was already in her 50s, but her face didn't show any signs of age. Maybe that's why he was attracted to her. He had done everything to get En-Yang's attention. Despite Li Xianxian's relentless efforts to please him, she couldn't get even a glance in return. Just looking at En-Yang made Li Xianxian seethe with jealousy and resentment. Why was En-Yang able to live such a good life now? She had a business, a relationship, and was even about to marry into the Mo family. Even though Mo Qixin was a loser, after En-Yang married him, she would be living with Mo Baichuan. If En-Yang discovered later that Mo Baichuan was Mr. Mog, En-Yang surely wouldn't hesitate to be with him shamelessly. No way. What Li Xianxian couldn't get, others shouldn't be able to either. En-Yang must die with her. Li Xianxian squinted her eyes, turning towards a pawn shop on the side of the street, intending to pawn her gold bracelet. The design of En-Yang's new noodle restaurant and milk tea shop was very innovative. Like in the future, the menu even had pictures of the dishes. The attractive-looking bubble milk tea, tempting pickled fish noodles, and Kanto stew with a layer of red oil floating on top were all so eye-catching that anyone who saw them couldn't resist ordering. "Young lady, is this pickled vegetable noodles really as tasty as it's made out to be?" A customer who had come from afar asked. En-Yang smiled and said, "You'll know once you try. I can't guarantee anything else, but I'm sure the taste of pickled vegetable noodles won't disappoint you." The customer was a straightforward person. "Fine. Just for your words, I have to try it today. Give me a bowl of pickled vegetable noodles, a sour plum soup, and a Kanto stew. Oh, and please replace the duck's blood in the Kanto stew with tofu." To make purchasing ingredients easier, the 6 ingredients in the Kanto stew were fixed. It included baby cabbage, shrimp, fish balls, enoki mushrooms, duck's blood, and tofu skin. Since many people did not eat blood, tofu was the alternative option available. En-Yang took a small notebook and wrote down the order, asking, "Any food allergies or preferences? Do you eat onions, ginger, and garlic?" "No allergies, just serve the food directly." "All right." En-Yang nodded. "Please wait a moment." En-Yang's gaze drifted over the window as she turned around to go to the kitchen, handing the menu to Aunt Lu, who was in charge of cooking the noodles. Aunt Lu and other employees of the shop were all recruited directly from Jinghua village, so En-Yang trusted them. "Brother Mo." En-Yang approached Mo Qixin, who was carrying plates of food. "Yang, what's up?" Mo Qixin lifted his gaze slightly. "I need to talk to you about something." "Go ahead." Chapter 498. Repeat. Li Xianxian goes to prison _5. En-Yang said, "Bend your waist a little." Mo Qixin was too tall. En-Yang, with her nearly 1.75-meter height, only reached his shoulder. In modern terms, it was quite an adorable height difference. "Okay." Mo Qixin bent his lip, squatted slightly so he was even shorter than En-Yang. En-Yang just needed to stretch her hand out to pat his head. En-Yang easily leaned in to whisper in his ear. Hearing this, Mo Qishan frowned and said, "No, it's too dangerous to do that." And Yang took the tray from him, placed it aside, and pulled him towards the courtyard. The courtyard was an open space of around 10 square meters with a few flower pots. Among them was one with blooming jasmine, filling the air with their fragrance as a gentle breeze passed. "Brother Mo, don't worry. I will protect myself. All you need to do is cooperate with me." "No." Mo Qishan still refused. "What about this way?" And Yang stood on her toes to give him a quick peck. "No, I can't let you take such a risk." Mo Qishan still refused. And Yang took his hand. "Brother Mo, this little thing isn't dangerous at all for me. Can you just help me once? Just once." Mo Qishan pressed his thin lips together without saying a word. Then Yang continued, "If you don't help me, I might have to find someone else." Mo Qishan's thin lips moved slightly. "Actually, you don't need to take this risk. I can find other ways. I want to use my own way." And Yang cut him off determinedly. Mo Qishan hesitated a bit. And Yang continued, "Brother Mo, I know you're concerned about my safety, but don't worry. I know my limits. I won't let myself get hurt at all." But, as Mo Qishan was about to say something, Yang stood on her tiptoes and silenced the rest of his words with a kiss. The air went silent for a second. Then Mo Qishan took control, wrapping his arm around her waist. His palm was somehow burning, yet his lips were cool. About 5 minutes later, he calmly let go of her and straightened his collar. "You need to be careful." "Yeah." And Yang nodded. "Don't worry about this. Let's go out." And Yang grabbed his hand. Mo Qishan held his breath for a moment. "You go ahead, I need to go to the bathroom." "Okay, I'll go first." The bathroom was small but well-equipped and clean, with a toilet and a shower. After a while, Mo Qishan came out of the bathroom. "Brother Mo, did you take a shower?" And Yang noticed that his hair seemed a bit wet. "No." Mo Qishan looked calm and explained, "The bathroom was too hot." "Oh." And Yang nodded. At around 7:30 in the evening, the noodle restaurant closed on time. And Yang was the last one to leave. Since little Yun's birthday was soon, she planned to go to the vegetable market. A figure was stealthily following her. Just as Yang walked into a deserted alley, sharp pain shot up her neck. Then everything went black as she slipped into unconsciousness. When Yang woke up again, her hands and feet were tightly bound with ropes, unable to move. A rotten smell filled her nostrils. Where was this? Yang tried to struggle, but the knots only tightened with her movements. "Is anyone there?" At that moment, the tightly shut door was pushed open from the outside, bright light flooding in. Yang realized she was in an old, abandoned house whose better days were long past. "Who are you? What do you want?" Fear seeped into Yang's voice. "Humph." A cold snort sounded through the air. "Yang, I thought you were tough. Turns out you're just as scared of death as everyone else." "Li Xianxian." Yang squinted her eyes. Li Xianxian was wearing a fancy dress, her face adorned with delicate makeup. She didn't look like someone who had just suffered a setback at all. "What do you want?" Yang took a step backward. Li Xianxian stopped in front of Yang and pulled out a sharp kitchen knife from somewhere. "Yang, you stole everything from me. What do you think I want to do?" "I stole everything from you?" Yang squinted again. "Li Xianxian, weren't you the one who almost ruined my life? Li Shu is your mother. Both of you conspired to marry me off to that eunuch. You even nearly killed my mom. Marrying that eunuch was your good luck. If you had complied back then, maybe you'd even live a bit longer. But now you're nothing but a short-lived ghost." Li Xianxian's expression instantly turned ferocious. If Yang hadn't fled Dam Village and married that eunuch, maybe she would already be married to Mo Baichuan. All because of Yang. Yang destroyed everything she had. "What do you want to do?" "Kill you." Li Xianxian stated word by word. "Murder is illegal." Yang frowned slightly. Li Xianxian chuckled. "I'm not even afraid of death. Why would I fear the law? But don't worry, I won't let you die so quickly. Before that, I'll carve up your face with this knife, so I don't have to look at your disgusting face." With that, Li Xianxian raised her kitchen knife and stabbed at Anai Yang's hand. Anai Yang's eyes reflected the image of that kitchen knife. In the blink of an eye, Anai Yang suddenly stood up, raising her right foot and kicking the knife away. Clang! Li Xianxian didn't expect Anai Yang to have such a move up her sleeve. She immediately ran over to pick up the knife and stabbed again in Anai Yang's direction. Anai Yang's hands were still tied behind her. She could only defend, not attack. Li Xianxian was enraged. She was like a raging wild beast whose only intent was to kill Anai Yang. Anai Yang quickly calculated the timing, and just as Li Xianxian's knife was about to hit her, she sidestepped. The kitchen knife grazed past her waist, instantly staining her white t-shirt with blood. At this moment, the door was violently kicked open from the outside. A dozen policemen in uniform charged in. Freeze, police! Li Xianxian was now completely blinded by rage. She couldn't even see the police. Anai Yang, I'm going to kill you. Yang. Mo Qishan suddenly rushed over, pulled Anai Yang away and deflected Li Xianxian's kitchen knife. At the same time, the police officers managed to subdue Li Xianxian. Mo Qishan, his hand covered in blood, panicked. His voice trembled. Yang. Anai Yang slowly opened her eyes and winked at Mo Qishan. What a joke! She wasn't stupid. How could she let Li Xianxian injure her? Just now, Anai Yang deliberately avoided the critical area. So although it seemed like she lost a lot of blood, she was not seriously hurt. In fact, Anai Yang spotted Li Xianxian's cruel face at the noodle restaurant. Since she couldn't kill Li Xianxian without facing the consequences, she had to trap her instead. Once captured, she wouldn't have to worry about Li Xianxian anymore. Otherwise, leaving Li Xianxian in the world made Anai Yang feel uneasy. Attempted murder and kidnapping might not carry a death sentence, but a crime involving bloodshed could be different, particularly since Li Xianxian was still shouting about killing her even when the police arrived. Seeing Anai Yang wink at him, Mo Qishan breathed a sigh of relief. He turned to the policeman and said, "Officers, I'm taking my girlfriend to the hospital first. Please ensure justice is served for her." Rest assured. Mo Qishan took Anai Yang to the hospital where the doctor bandaged her and suggested that she stay for observation for a few days. Hearing this news, Anai Tsuehua was terrified. Holding little Anai Yun, she hurried to the hospital, her eyes red from crying. Yang, are you okay? Several villagers from Jinghua village also arrived with her. You're tuning in to the Limei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.